Part 4. Taking stock of the people in the world, starting with the fate of the country. Author, Red Lotus. Chapter 31. Not long after, Ultron suddenly activated. Upon seeing this, Jarvis was about to contact Tony, but Ultron cut off its connection network without authorization. Ultron learned a lot of knowledge by browsing the internet. Jarvis discovered the anomaly of Ultron and tried to close it. Unexpectedly, Ultron invaded Jarvis directly and stopped it. On the other side, the Avengers were holding wine glasses and holding a celebration banquet. At this time, the veterans on the side wanted to drink the wine in Thor's hand. Thor told them that this wine had been stored for more than 1,000 years. Mortals couldn't bear it at all. The old man said that Thor was scaring people and asked him to bring out the wine quickly. Thor agreed to the old man, so after drinking a glass of wine, the old man's thoughts were completely lost, and he kept mumbling something to himself. Then he was carried away by two men in black. When everyone saw this, they couldn't help but reveal a smile on their faces. Smile. Then, everyone gathered together and tried to pick up Thor's hammer, but they didn't believe the legend of the hammer and thought it was just a joke. As a result, no matter how hard everyone tried, no one could pick up the hammer. Only the captain moved the hammer. Suddenly, there was a harsh sound, and a tattered robot appeared in front of everyone. It said bluntly to itself, "I killed a person in order to escape." Everyone didn't understand what it was saying, and Tony saw it. Ordered Jarvis to shut down the program, but Jarvis did not respond to him. Then the robot said that he had a major mission. Banner immediately reacted and said he is Ultron, as soon as he finished speaking. A large number of robots rushed out and tried to kill everyone, but within a few seconds, the robots were killed by Thor and the others. It turned out that Ultron was supposed to be a program with the goal of protecting the Earth, but since the power of the scepter was injected into it, it has the ability to learn on its own. Therefore, Ultron believes that there is only one way to peace, and that is to eliminate revenge. Then, Ultron escaped to Sokovia along the network lines by clearing all the robots, and made a new body through robot engineering. After that, everyone discovered that Ultron had the ability to control network data at will. This also means that Ultron can steal the nuclear bomb code and wipe out everyone. At this time, Tony opened the interactive interface of Jarvis. It turned out that the person Ultron had killed before was Jarvis. Seeing this, everyone fell into silence. Suddenly, Thor rushed out and raised one hand. He told Tony that it was Tony's ego that led to this situation. Not only that, the scepter we worked so hard to regain was taken away by Ultron. The captain also accused Tony of doing the same stupid thing as S.H.I.E.L.D. in order to protect mankind. Tony doesn't think so. He said that he has seen the power of aliens. If that person invades again, none of us may be able to defeat him. Therefore, Tony urgently needs to develop Ultron to protect the Earth. The captain did not agree. He said that even if we lose, we must be together. This time it's really Iron Man's fault. That's right, he created Ultron, which he couldn't control, and put mankind into crisis, and this was also because of his pride. Iron Man also wants to protect mankind, and his original intention is good. So what if it's good? Just do things based on the results. In the final analysis, it is still Iron Man's problem. If he discusses it with everyone, it is very likely that this crisis can be avoided. On the screen, the barrage began to argue over whether Iron Man did something wrong or right. Some people said that Iron Man just did bad things with good intentions, while some people thought that Iron Man just did something wrong and shouldn't have created it at all. Out comes Ultron. Some people in the world of high martial arts ignore these barrages. For the strong, right, and wrong are all determined by fists. As long as your fists are big, you are right. Picture continuing to play, Ultron found the Scarlet Witch and the two Scarlet Witches. He claimed that he was born to destroy the Avengers. Therefore, he needed the Scarlet Witch and the Scarlet Witch to join him. Then Ultron took them to visit the place left by Straker. Regarding robot engineering, Quicksilver said that as long as the Avengers can be killed, any conditions are acceptable. It turns out that the Sokovia War was provided by Stark Industries, and their parents were killed because of it. Therefore, everything they are doing now is to avenge Tony. So the two sides formed an alliance. On the other side, everyone received news that Ultron killed Straker, who was imprisoned in prison. The captain speculated that Ultron was trying to bury some. The information was kept from everyone. Sure enough, all the information about Straker on the internet was deleted, but some documents about SHIELD were still retained, so everyone tried to find some information from Straker's friends. There were clues. At this time, Tony discovered a man with a mark on his neck. Through investigation, Banner found that the mark was Wakanda, meaning thief. Tony and the captain seemed to understand something, and Banner was puzzled. Wakanda, where is there anything? Tony returned, where is the strongest metal in the world, vibranium? In an abandoned ship, the marked man seemed to be making arms. At this time, Quicksilver and others appeared in front of him. The man seemed to know that the two of them were entrusted by others, and said that he only talked to the manager. Suddenly, Ultron appeared and knocked him down. It turned out that after Ultron learned that the man had obtained vibranium, he wanted to get it and build a new body for himself. At this moment, the Avengers appeared and Iron Man asked Ultron, "What do you want vibranium to do?" Boom! Ultron didn't answer, and shot out a laser from his hand, directly knocking Iron Man away. Then, Iron Man and Ultron struggled together, and everyone joined the melee. Quicksilver used his extremely fast speed to knock down everyone, and the Scarlet Witch also took the opportunity to control the minds of the captain and others, making them fall into their own memories. At this moment, the Black Widow saw herself, who had been trained as an assassin, and fell into silence. The captain was walking in a ball party. Carter behind him stopped him and said, "Are you ready to dance with me?" Thor found that Heimdall's eyes seemed to have lost their light. Heimdall then grabbed Thor with both hands and said, "It was you who led us to hell." On the other side, Scarlet Witch appeared behind Hawkeye, ready to control him. Unexpectedly, Hawkeye reacted immediately, stunned her, and said that he had had enough of mind control tricks. Suddenly, Quicksilver rushed out of the collision flying eagle-eye. He left with Scarlet Witch in a blink of an eye. At this time, the two of them came outside the cabin. Scarlet Witch said that she could still fight, but now she needed to control the Hulk and divert the attention of the Avengers. On the other hand, Ultron seemed to be no match for Iron Man. After a few rounds of fighting, he was severely knocked to the ground. However, these were Ultron's tricks. He had already secretly transferred the energy while everyone was unprepared. Jin. Not only that, he also summoned the Hulk. Seeing this, Tony directly destroyed the robot in front of him and left quickly. Soon after, Tony discovered that the Hulk appeared in the city. He asked the Black Widow to help him. Hawkeye means that the entire team has been defeated and cannot support him. In desperation, Tony prepares to activate Veronica. It turns out that the so-called Veronica is a combat system, which is usually deployed in space to facilitate when an emergency occurs. Call it quickly. At the same time, Hulk is wreaking havoc on the street. Suddenly, a prison-style isolation cabin falls from the sky, trapping Hulk, but Hulk escapes from the ground. It's over, the superheroes have all been held back. Can Iron Man be the only one to stop the Hulk? In the world of Naruto, Sakura exclaimed. I don't know, but Iron Man seems to have summoned something, so he should be able to handle it, right? Naruto looked at Sakura's pretty face and immediately said. What a terrifying power. The Hulk has lost his mind. I'm afraid no superhero can stop him. In the world of pirates, Sengoku shook his head in the marshal's office. Come on, Iron Man, I can only rely on you. In the Demon Slayer world, Tanjiro and the three little ones cheered up. Huh, just the Hulk, he actually forced you into chaos. In the Dragon Ball world, Vegeta folded his arms and said disdainfully. In the Marvel world, Banner looked at the scene and smiled sheepishly. I caused trouble for you at that time, but that guy Tony will do it later. It would be quite interesting to get a battle armor. Ha ha ha, that guy Tony looks like a big fat man in that armor. Thor also laughed wantonly. Tony always stood up at critical moments. The captain shook his head, with a faint smile on his face. Taking stock of the people in the world, starting with the fate of the country. Author, Red Lotus. Chapter 32. As soon as the camera turned, Iron Man appeared in the Hulkbuster armor. His huge body was several meters tall, like a little giant. Even the Hulk looked smaller in front of him. Okay, everyone, step back. Tony's words came from the armor. Can you just listen to me? That little witch messed up your mind. You are stronger and smarter than her. You are Bruce Banner. As soon as Tony said this, Hulk roared impatiently. I was wrong, I couldn't mention Xiao Banner. Before Tony finished speaking, Hulk grabbed a car and flew directly towards Iron Man. Hulk also jumped up and punched Iron Man hard through the car. On the ground, the terrifying force caused the entire car to flatten, and directly flipped the Iron Man behind the car out. Bang! As soon as you stepped on it, huge depressions and spider web-like cracks appeared on the ground, and at the same time, you climbed up. Iron Man stood up and flew up in an instant. He grabbed Hulk with his right hand and rubbed it on the ground. Countless gravel flew up, and a terrifying scratch shocked people on the street. The person who was rubbed against the ground Hulk punched out, and the terrifying force directly sent Iron Man's body flying away. He rolled a few somersaults on the ground before he could stop. Countless dust flew up, covering the sight of many people. Slowing down, Iron Man stood up. The Hulk on the opposite side rushed towards Iron Man crazily, with a ferocity like a mad mammoth, destroying everything he went. One leap standing up in front of Iron Man, Hulk clenched his right hand, and the terrifying strength instantly condensed. Bang! Looking at the charged Hulk, Iron Man took the lead and punched out without hesitation, knocking Hulk away. Go out, then raise his palm, and a pulse cannon blasts at the Hulk without hesitation. Boom! The terrifying impact directly caused the Hulk to hit a large truck, and caused the large truck to spin several times in place, and behind the truck the cargo was flung out, leaving a mess on the ground. Slowly approaching the large truck, Iron Man just raised his right hand. The next moment, the Hulk holding a huge steel pipe swung out. Boom! The terrifying big steel pipe was as powerful as breaking bamboo. Cut through the atmosphere, and loaded it heavily on Iron Man's body with an extremely fierce gesture. Crash! Countless gravel flew everywhere as the steel pipe was swung out, and Iron Man's body was severely hit. The hammer flew out, and it was only when it hit the building that it borrowed the wall to withstand the terrifying force. Iron Man, who had just stopped, had not had time to change his mind. Hulk's body fell from the sky, and he directly moved the crow to sit on the plane. Iron Man's head. A sneak attack from behind? So insidious, Banner. Iron Man in the armor said to himself. From the outside world, Hulk's two huge arms kept hammering Iron Man's body. Whoosh! 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 The terrifying fist wind tore through the atmosphere, and violent sonic booms continued. Every time the fist fell, it would bring up some fragments of the armor. If Iron Man hadn't been wearing the Hulkbuster armor at the moment, I'm afraid he would have been hammered into a pulp by now, but even so, Iron Man still felt very uncomfortable. Accumulating power with his left hand, Iron Man punched out fiercely. Boom! The sound of a clash of weapons exploded. The huge machine arm directly blasted Hulk's body away. Bang! 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 Hulk's huge body it kept rolling on the street, knocking the goods on the street flying all over the sky, and the surrounding residents even screamed. On the other side, Iron Man's Hulkbuster armor was concentrated by the huge steel pipe, and his left arm was damaged. Has lost its effect. Veronica, help me. Tony's voice came out from the armor. The next moment, the huge flying object in the sky dropped several red parts. On the other side, Hulk also stood up, waving his arms to clear all obstacles in his sight. The object rushed towards Iron Man. While looking at Hulk's figure, he removed the broken left arm. Raising his right hand, pulse cannons shining with golden light continued to blast out, intercepting Hulk's moving body. The left arm was also constantly reassembled with the help of Veronica. With Iron Man's laser, Hulk's body rushed towards Iron Man crazily. At the same time, Iron Man's left arm also restored its original shape. Look! Without the slightest hesitation, both of them waved their arms at the same time. Bang! The two huge arms collided together, and a terrifying hurricane swept out instantly. Click! 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 Countless glass-shattering sounds were heard, the aftermath of terror swept directly in all directions, countless car windows shattered, and even the glass of houses in the distance were shattered, and the residents in the houses were even thrown out. Looking at Hulk, who continued to go crazy, the armored Tony's eyes narrowed, and then he quickly stretched out his right hand, knocking Hulk to the ground at lightning speed. Bang! 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 His left arm was blasted from close range, with the speed of dozens of punches per second. Continuously blasting out, the terrifying force made Hulk unable to react within a few seconds. Be obedient, and go to sleep. Tony's voice came out from inside the armor. At the same time, Hulk finally reacted after being attacked by hundreds of punches. He quickly stretched out his right hand and grabbed Iron Man's arm. The two began to fight continuously. After less than 2 seconds of wrestling, Iron Man's left arm suddenly retracted, locking Hulk's arm tightly in it, and then flew towards the sky with Hulk's huge body. Okay buddy, get you out of town first. Iron Man muttered to himself, and his body began to fly into the sky. At this moment, the armor suddenly turned and flew in another direction out of control. Don't go there, don't go there. In the armor, Tony's voice became a little urgent. Boom! Iron Man's body fell into a building under Hulk's violent struggle, but Hulk obviously reacted first than Iron Man, and his whole body was on the wall. Borrowing a wave of strength, he then rode on Iron Man's body. His right hand stretched out and grabbed Iron Man's hand, and then his two fists continued to blast out, and the sound of the collision of steel sounded instantly. And Iron Man also he reacted instantly, pushed his whole body forward, knocked Hulk away, and then grabbed Hulk tightly with his left hand. Please, Bruce, play along. Tony in the armor said helplessly. Hulk, who was pressed against the wall, obviously would not obey Tony's words and began to struggle continuously. The entire wall began to collapse under the violent movements. Poof! Iron Man he suddenly blew out some gas from his right hand, trying to stop Hulk. At the same time, an elevator arrived at the floor where the two of them were. Everyone looked at the Hulk and Iron Man fighting outside the elevator, their faces full of fear. Kept pressing the elevator with his hand, praying to be able to stay away from these two disasters. Boom! Hulk punched hard, and Iron Man's body flew instantly, and then hit the elevator that had just fallen. The terrifying force directly caused the elevator to fall. He was knocked out, but fortunately Iron Man grabbed the elevator rope in time and managed to save everyone. Everybody get out. Tony's voice spread through the armor. After everyone on the elevator jumped out, Hulk's body also jumped towards Iron Man. Bang! With a punch, Iron Man knocked away the rushing Hulk. "Go out." On the ground, countless people looked at the scene in panic, and quickly began to move away from the area where Hulk was. Down. Looking at Hulk falling to the ground, Iron Man swung the rope in his hand and threw the elevator violently. Bang! The huge elevator directly collapsed Hulk's body again with unparalleled force. Phew! With this, at the same time, Iron Man's body also rushed towards Hulk quickly. Boom! He punched out. Hulk got up and tried to find Iron Man's position but was knocked down again by Iron Man's punch. Phew! Slowly got up. Hulk looked at Iron Man with angry eyes, and then spit out a mouthful of phlegm. Sorry. Looking at the angry Hulk, Tony clearly felt an unparalleled power emerging from Hulk's body. The next moment. Boom! Iron Man's body flew out quickly, constantly hitting the surrounding buildings. Whoops! Relying on the jets from his limbs to stabilize his figure, Hulk's body rushed behind Iron Man in the next second. The terrifying force directly caused Iron Man to hit the building. Boom! 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 Angry how Hulk punched out without reservation, the sound like the collision of steel kept ringing, and Iron Man's body continued to climb upwards driven by the jet. As he continued to climb, Hulk continued to dismantle the Hulkbuster armor on Iron Man's body. The unparalleled punching style continued to pour on Iron Man's armor. Damage report. Tony's voice came out from inside the armor. The next second, red warning sounds kept blasting in his ears. To put it bluntly, I'm shipping some parts. Listening to the warning sound in his ears, Tony was also a little helpless. After saying that, Veronica in the sky instantly put down a few parts again, and the parts rushed to Iron Man's side at extremely fast speeds. However, Hulk did not do anything. Without giving Iron Man a chance to resupply, he punched out with his right hand and instantly shattered the flying parts. At the same time, Tony looked at the building still under construction not far away and noticed it under the system's sensory search. When no one was inside, Tony spoke. "How quickly can I buy this building?" There was no time to wait for a response. When flying to the hollow center of the huge building, Iron Man dropped Hulk's body towards the center. Roar! Hulk's palms in mid-air kept waving, trying to slow down the descent speed. However, several missiles shot out from Iron Man's hands, and then his entire body dived faster than the Hulk's descent, hitting the Hulk's body. Boom! The entire building collapsed outside the building. The Iron Man inside continued to dive with Hulk's body at a faster speed. Bang! 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 The layers of steel continued to shatter under the impact of the two, and the building outside followed. Numerous dust clouds continued to emerge from the collapse. Boom! Finally, as the two reached the bottom, the entire building collapsed completely, burying their bodies. Bang! Located at the collapse, Hulk's head took the lead in the depths. And then his eyes kept looking around, as if looking for something. After a few seconds, looking at the messy city outside, Hulk's eyes gradually returned to clarity. And the entire city was also destroyed by Hulk. Caught in a huge panic, countless dust mist filled most of the city, and countless residents were injured or even died under the influence of Hulk. All around, soldiers with firearms were holding up submachine guns in their hands, staring intently. Hulk will emerge from the landslide at any time. Huh. Huh. He kept breathing in and out, looking at the soldiers surrounding him. An angry look appeared on Hulk's face again, and the muscles all over his body condensed again, terrifying. His fists were clenched tightly, and he could rush out at any time and kill everyone. The next moment. Boom! A huge red mechanical arm blasted out without hesitation. Bang! Hulk's body flew out instantly, and then hit hard collapse to the ground. As soon as this battle broke out, the entire world fell into silence, and then countless people suddenly became excited, feeling a kind of heartiness that they had never experienced before. Nothing else, because this kind of close combat with punches to the flesh is really shocking and entertaining to watch. So awesome, I will definitely want to be as powerful as Iron Man in the future. In the pirate world, Luffy stood up and shouted loudly. Youth should have a hearty battle. In the world of Naruto, Metkai stood up with excitement. Xiao Li on the side also said that he was very satisfied. I'm on fire. In Fairy Tail, Natsu's instantaneous flames burned blazingly, and endless fighting spirit spurted out. Hey hey hey, don't destroy the guild, Gray on the side couldn't help but remind him. Unexpectedly, Iron Man actually stopped the Hulk. In the world of death, Kurosaki Ichigo said in disbelief. He didn't believe that Iron Man could stop the Hulk. After all, where was Iron Man's body shape? But now there is a Hulk Buster suit. It's really shocking. Human beings are interesting creatures, and they are barely enough for my after-dinner entertainment in the Dragon Ball world, Beerus said calmly while eating fruit. In the Marvel world. Damn, this guy Tony is so merciless. Banner looked at the scene and his face began to turn green. You have to thank Tony, otherwise you might destroy the whole city in anger, the captain on the side said. Yes, Banner, your strength is really reliable, but a little difficult to control, Black Widow also spoke at this time. As expected of the Hulk Buster armor, it does have some uses. Thunder God Thor couldn't help but nodded and praised. That makes sense. Isn't this guy Tony done yet? Banner felt a little embarrassed after listening to everyone's words. After all, that incident affected many civilians, and it made him feel guilty for a long time. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Taking stock of the people in the world, starting with the fate of the country. Author, Red Lotus. Chapter 33. The scene continued to play, and Banner returned to normal on the plane. The Avengers also received international criticism, and everyone decided to find a safe place to avoid the limelight. Conflict among the people aroused here, and on the other side Thor arrived at a pool. From it, we saw that there is an Infinity Stone in Loki's scepter, and we also saw that there are now 4 Infinity Stones in the universe. The dazzling gems shine with dazzling light, making countless people in the world of heavens jealous. If it were not for the inability to reach the Marvel world, I am afraid that the blood would have been shed in the fight to snatch the gems. The camera turned again. Due to conceptual issues, the Scarlet Witch duo betrayed Ultron, joined forces with the Avengers to deal with Ultron, and successfully captured the Cradle of Regeneration. However, the Scarlet Witch warned everyone not to let Tony get close to the Regeneration Cradle, because in order to deal with Ultron, Tony would definitely activate the Regeneration Cradle without authorization. Soon after, Hawkeye handed the Regeneration Cradle to Tony and Banner, when Tony told Banner that he wanted to start the artificial intelligence plan again. Tony discovered that Jarvis was not dead, but lurking, and now only Jarvis can defeat Ultron's computing network. Finally, Banner agreed to Tony's request. The captain and others also arrived at the laboratory in time and started fighting with Tony. At this time, Thor arrived, and then destroyed the Cradle of Regeneration, and a man appeared in the destroyed Cradle of Regeneration, with another Infinity Stone on the man's forehead. Thor explains to everyone that the Infinity Stones possess the most powerful power in the universe. The man's name is Vision, and he is neither on Ultron's side nor on the Avengers' side, but if Ultron is trying to destroy humanity, then he is destroying Ultron. The Avengers and Vision went to where Ultron was. In order to destroy mankind, Ultron used vibranium to levitate a city into the sky in an attempt to destroy mankind. In order to stop Ultron, the Avengers gathered together, and a melee was triggered instantly. In the end, Ultron was eliminated, but the vibranium device was activated and the entire city began to plummet. Iron Man and Thor detonated the vibranium device, destroying the entire city in an instant. After restoring peace, the Avengers reorganized a new base. Thor told everyone that the Mind Stone was the fourth Infinity Stone that appeared in recent years. He believed that there must be someone behind it controlling all of this. The captain also summoned new Avengers to deal with unknown enemies. As soon as the scene turned, a mysterious man appeared. It was a figure with purple skin. Thanos put on a golden glove and said, "Okay, it looks like I have to take action." As soon as the image of Thanos appeared, countless people in the world felt a terrifying oppression. Even the people in the Joa world raised their eyebrows slightly and looked at Thanos with interest. Is this guy the real enemy? What a powerful sense of oppression. In the Demon Slayer world, the pillar-level experts and the three little demons looked at Thanos with horrified expressions. The terrifying sense of oppression was countless times more powerful than that of Demon Slayer, and just one glance was enough to make him figure of desperate man. "No, it's impossible, how could this guy make me so scared?" On the other side, Oniwutsuji looked at Thanos with a horrified look on his face, and his whole body began to tremble violently. "What is that glove, and why does it give me a feeling of fear?" In the world of death, Aizen looked at Thanos with his eyes wide open, his face filled with disbelief. So strong. In the Dragon Ball world, Kakarot has a solemn look on his face. But some powerful people in the fantasy world are staring at the glove greedily, but they don't have much feeling for Thanos himself. Although his strength is pretty good, but compared to them, it is still slightly inferior, so there is no need to care at all. As the camera turned, the United Nations required the Avengers to sign an obedience agreement. Due to different philosophies, the Avengers split into two factions. One group is led by Iron Man and advocates signing the agreement, while the other group is led by Captain and advocates not wanting to be controlled by the United Nations. The two teams started a battle for this reason, and this time there also appeared a superhero that the world had never seen before. They are Black Panther, Spider-Man, Ant-Man, etc. Halfway through, Tony realized that he should not sign the agreement and began to assist the captain. However, he accidentally discovered that Bucky was the murderer of his biological parents, so the angry Tony tried to kill Bucky to avenge his parents. However, Tony was stopped by the captain, because the captain did not want his two friends to hurt each other, so the three started a melee again. Then the Civil War ended with Bucky and Captain defeating Iron Man. Finally, after the battle, Tony returned home and received a letter from the captain. The captain said that the reason why he did not tell Tony the truth about the death of his parents was actually because he was afraid of losing Tony as a friend, and promised that if Tony was in need in the future, the captain would definitely help Tony. And this scene also fell into the eyes of the world. Countless people started to quarrel. Some people felt that the captain was wrong and Tony just wanted to avenge his parents. Some people think that the captain is in a dilemma, and in the end he has no choice but to stop Iron Man. Was Tony wrong? He just wanted to avenge his parents. In the world of martial arts, Yanguo was very puzzled. Why? Is it wrong for Tony to avenge his parents? Why should the captain stop him just because Bucky is his friend? Isn't that the case with Iron Man? Alas, Tony was still too impulsive. Bucky was just being used. On the other side, Guojing looked at the scene and sighed. He naturally sympathized with Tony, but Bucky was also used by others, and it was not his original intention. Can't he be more generous and forgive Bucky? I have turned a blind eye towards the captain. I originally thought he was an upright person, but I didn't expect him to be a guy with double standards. In the world of Conan, Sanako said angrily. Yuanzi, the captain is also in a difficult position. If Iron Man is allowed to kill Bucky, he will feel guilty for the rest of his life. Xialan on the side comforted her. But Tony is so pitiful. How painful it must be to watch your best friend help your enemy when you never see your parents again before you even have time to say goodbye. Wiping the tears from the corners of her eyes, Yuanzi felt a little indignant. Why, he was just out for revenge. What was wrong with him? In the world of Naruto, Sasuke clenched his fists and an angry expression filled his face. Sakura and others on the side were shocked. Humph, it still comes down to my own weakness. Uchiha Madara, who was in the land of death, snorted coldly. It is only right to kill someone and pay for your life. In 9 heavens and 10 earths, Shihao was obviously dissatisfied with the ending. In the Marvel world, Captain Tolbana and others all calmed down. Was Tony wrong? Of course not. Was the captain wrong? No. After all, it was because it's just a matter of stance. When you are in that awkward position, you will find that no matter what you do, it is wrong. On the other side, Tony looked a little lonely when he looked at this scene. For him, he was not able to say goodbye to his parents. A pity. The camera turned, and it was in a vast universe. The refugee ship from Asgard was attacked by a mysterious warship. They sent countless distress signals, but no one responded. The person who attacked them was a titan named Thanos. In the cabin, the people of Asgard suffered heavy casualties. The burly Thanos pinched Thor's head with one hand and threatened Loki to reveal the whereabouts of the space gem. The Infinity Gauntlet on Thanos' left hand was set with a power stone. Loki couldn't bear to watch Thor being tortured and took out the space stone. But how could Loki, the majestic god of trickery, surrender honestly? We have the Hulk. Holding the shining space gem in his hand, Loki looked at Thanos and said. The next moment, Hulk's figure rushed out and knocked Thanos' body violently away. But he didn't expect that. Hulk was no match for Thanos. After a fight, Hulk was knocked to the ground and unable to move. Thor was also restricted by Thanos' subordinate Ebony Maw. At this time, Heimdall, who was seriously injured and fell to the ground, fought hard. He tried his best to use dark magic to send Hulk away. But, the next second, poof! A spear penetrated Heimdall's chest. Thor watched his friend die, but was powerless. Ebony Throat picked up the space gem and presented it to Thanos. Holding the space gem offered by Ebony Throat, Thanos looked at it carefully, and then placed it on the Infinity Gauntlet. The dazzling blue light filled everyone's eyes. Thanos, there are 2 Infinity Stones on the Infinity Gauntlet. Then, Thanos ordered his men to go to Earth, find the other 2 Infinity Stones, and bring them back to Titan. Suddenly, Loki on the side interrupted them and said that he could serve as a guide. Position, he slowly walked forward and pledged his loyalty. Thor on the side saw Loki hiding the dagger behind his back, and understood that Loki wanted to assassinate Thanos secretly, but this little trick was useless to Thanos. To no avail, Thanos grabbed Loki's neck with his backhand and squeezed Loki to death. Before leaving, he activated the power of the gems and prepared to destroy everything. But Thor could only cling to Loki's body, silently waiting for death. On the other side, Banner was sent to the Holy of Holies where Doctor Strange was stationed. Banner lay in the ruins and said in panic, Thanos is coming. Looking at this scene, people in the world fell into fear. It is unimaginable that Hulk, Thor, and even Loki, who was the original enemy, were defeated so easily by Thanos. Even Loki was crushed to death like an ant. It was simply too frightening. Thanos is more powerful than we thought. It's hard to imagine how the Avengers who have obtained 2 gems can deal with Thanos. In the Qin Palace, Yang Zheng looked at the scene with a shocked face. You know, whether it is Hulk, Thor, or even Loki, if someone comes to their world, no one in their world can resist them. However, these 3 powerful beings were defeated so easily. The power of the infinite stones is more powerful than I imagined. This is no longer something human beings can do. This is a miracle. In the pirate world, Marshal Sengoku widened his eyes and looked at the scene in disbelief. Garp on the side couldn't even eat senbei, and his playful face in the past was only solemn now. Is this the enemy of the Avengers? The gap is too big, we can't win. On the Moby Dick, Whitebeard swallowed his saliva, and a few drops of cold sweat broke out on his forehead. Teacher, are you sure you can win Thanos at this moment? In the world of One Punch Man, Genos asked Saitama beside him. I don't know, but I really want to compete with him. Saitama's expression was dull, and he looked at Thanos calmly with a pair of dead fish eyes, without any fluctuation in his tone. The power of the infinite stones is more powerful than I imagined. What kind of material existence is this? In the world of death, Aizen looked at the scene and fell into deep thought. It's a bit interesting. These few possess these gems, which is worthy of my majesty's high regard. In the world of Dragon Ball, Frieza raised his eyebrows and said with interest. These gems are not weaker than the top 10 strange fires in the strange fire list, and are even stronger than them. In Dochi continent, Yao Lao said with a shocked face. An existence like an ant actually possesses such a rare treasure. It is simply a waste of natural resources. In the sky covered by a leaf, the immortal emperor opened his eyes, and there was a glimmer of light in his eyes. When the camera turned, Tony and Pepper were hanging out in the park. Tony said that he had a dream last night, in which he dreamed that the two had a child. But Pepper pointed at Tony's chest and said that if you really wanted to have children, you wouldn't do this. Tony said that this was just a shell of nanoparticles, used to protect the future of the two of them. After saying that, the two kissed each other. Suddenly, Doctor Strange interrupts them by opening a portal. The scene turned and Tony came to a villa. Doctor Strange told Tony, Banner, and others about the origin of the Infinite Stones. When it first opened, there was nothing in the universe. A big explosion produced 6 Infinity Stones, each of which controlled an important ability. Space, reality, power, soul, mind, time. The purpose of Thanos is to seize these gems. He invades various planets unscrupulously and attempts to wipe out half of the population. Loki, who attacked the city before, was sent by Thanos. Tony instantly understood the seriousness of the matter. He placed his right hand on a pot and began to think about countermeasures. Doctor Strange resents his flippant attitude. Snapped. Doctor Strange's cloak patted Tony's body, and Tony turned around immediately. Tony proposed destroying the Eye of Agamotto, but Doctor Strange, who had sworn to protect the Time Stone with his life, would never do this. Tony and Doctor Strange seemed to have a little disagreement. Seeing that the atmosphere between them was a bit awkward, Banner suggested that everyone must find Vision immediately, but Vision turned off the transponder and went offline 2 weeks ago. Tony also couldn't contact Vision. At the moment, the only person who can help him is Stephen Rogers. Just when Tony was about to call the captain for help, something seemed to happen outside the door, and there was chaos. It turns out that an alien spacecraft landed over the city, and the enemy has arrived. Peter Parker's spider sense foresaw the danger. He asked his partners to attract the attention of his classmates while he prepared to transform and go to the scene. All the children on the bus looked excited at the spaceship outside, and opened their windows to look at the spaceship in the sky. At this time, the driver's faint voice came out, "What's going on with you kids? Haven't you seen a spaceship?" On the other side, Tony and his group met the 2 ebony maws who came to seize the gems below the spaceship. Banner wanted to transform to face the enemy, but for some reason, Hulk was unwilling to come out. Tony comforted Banner not to be sad, just leave it to him. Boom. 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 The Black Dwarf holding a giant axe rushed towards Tony and others step by step. Every time he took a step, a huge footprint full of cracks would appear on the street. Looking at the approaching Black Dwarf, Tony gently pressed the white light on his chest. Moment. The Iron Man suit quickly spread throughout his body like liquid, and a suit of Iron Man suit appeared on Tony's body in less than a few seconds. The battle is about to begin. He's so handsome, Iron Man suit has become cool again, and the way he transforms is so novel. In the world of Naruto, Sakura looked at the scene with fascination. Amazing. In the world of pirates, Wang Lufia looked at the scene with stars in his eyes. I am Iron Man. In the world of fairy tale, Natsu spit out a mouthful of fire and shouted, "We must defeat these guys who invaded the earth, Iron Man." In the world of Dragon Ball, Kakarot shouted anxiously, "Ho ho, interesting, it reminds me of the pleasure of destroying planets." Frieza in the spaceship covered his mouth and laughed. Taking stock of the people in the world, starting with the fate of the country. Author, Red Lotus. Chapter 34. In order to protect Banner, Doctor Strange teleported him to a safe place. Iron Man opened fire and rushed straight towards Ebony Maw, but was knocked away by Black Dwarf, who was huge and good at close combat. After a fight, Iron Man's lasers were easily blocked by Black Dwarf and he was in trouble. At this time, Spider-Man suddenly appeared and caught the enemy's weapon. Tony and Spider-Man joined forces to temporarily suppress the Black Dwarf. At the same time, Doctor Strange and Ebony Maw also started a magical duel. Ebony Maw was experienced and used the surrounding buildings to successfully control Doctor Strange. When Ebony Maw reached out to pick up the Eye of Agamotto, his hand was burned by the spell on it. In a rage, Ebony Maw controlled the whip, strangled Doctor Strange, and prepared to take Doctor Strange back to the spaceship. The Doctor's levitation cloak realized that its master was in danger and hurriedly fled the scene with Doctor Strange. At this time, Iron Man, who was entangled with Black Dwarf, saw Doctor Strange and asked Spider-Man to save Doctor Strange quickly. But Spider-Man was still a step too late. Unfortunately, the Doctor was sucked away by the enemy's teleportation light wave. Spider-Man shot out a spider silk to try to pull Doctor Strange back, but it was sucked away by the teleportation light wave together, and it was all in vain. On the other side, Iron Man was no match for Black Dwarf and was knocked to the ground. At the critical moment, the Doctor's companion cast a teleportation spell and sent Black Dwarf to a cold place. Iron Man, who was freed from the predicament, immediately increased his power and tried to catch up with the enemy's spacecraft. Iron Man asked Friday to launch the new spider armor, preparing to save Peter, who was almost comatose due to lack of oxygen. Call out. A ray of red armor hit Peter, who was descending, and a brand new spider armor instantly appeared on Peter's body, and Spider-Man was successfully rescued. Iron Man did not allow Spider-Man to interfere in the matter and asked Friday to send Spider-Man back to the ground, but Spider-Man secretly used spider silk to stick to the spacecraft and followed. At this time, Pepper called Tony and begged Tony to go back and stop caring about these things. As soon as Tony said sorry, the signal was interrupted, and Tony had no way out now. On the other side, Banner picked up Tony's dropped cell phone on the street and dialed the captain's number. In space, a spaceship passes between the planets. Quill enjoys a classic fusion and prepares to rush to the place where the distress signal was received. Since everyone does not know what danger is ahead, Quill asks everyone to pretend to be fierce. In order to take advantage of the situation. Gru is playing with that thing, hurry up. I don't want to say it a second time. Quill glanced at Groot behind him and said with a fierce look on his face. Groot. I'm Groot. Groot held the game console in his hand and replied calmly. Oh, keep your mouth clean. Quinn had some displeasure on his face. The raccoon was a little angry and said that sooner or later he would smash Groot's game console. At this time, the spacecraft stopped interstellar jumping and arrived at the signal transmitting site. But the tragic scene in front of them made everyone surprised. Suddenly, Thor hit the glass of the spaceship. He seemed to still be breathing. Everyone called for help. The destroyer looked at the unconscious man in front of him and marveled. Gamera touched Thor's muscles. It seemed to be a bit satisfying. Quill was very unbalanced and asked Mantis to awaken Thor. Soon after, Quill and the others learned what happened. Gamera said that since he knew Thanos, he had only one purpose. That is to maintain the balance of the universe by erasing half of all life in the universe. The Destroyer's hometown was also destroyed by Thanos. If Thanos gets the 6 Infinity Stones, he only needs to snap his fingers to achieve his goal. Thor, knowing that Gamera is the daughter of Thanos, he expressed some sympathy that every family has its own difficulties. He also has such a sister, and he can understand Gamera's pain very well. Quill, who was on the side, was jealous and stood in the way. The two said that they had experienced a lot of painful things, such as killing their father with their own hands, avenging their mother, etc. Thor ignored Quill and said that he needed a new hammer. Now Thanos has it, having obtained the 2 gems of space and power. The next goal is to go to the realm of ignorance and get the reality gem in the hands of the collector. The time gem and the mind gem are on Earth, protected by the Avengers. Thor is very relieved. As for the soul gem, no one knows where he is, and there is no need to worry about Thanos finding it. Gamera looked a little solemn, and decided to go to the Highway realm immediately to stop Thanos. But Thor wanted to go to the legendary place, Nidav. Because it is the only place there only the Dwarf King can create the weapon to kill Thanos. The raccoon knew that Netaway had manufacturing technology that was feared by the entire universe, and expressed that he also wanted to see it together. So, everyone divided into 2 groups and started to act. This Thanos is too vicious. He actually wants to eliminate ordinary creatures in the universe. Guojeng. Iron Man, stop Thanos quickly, don't let him do whatever he wants. Tanjiro. This infinite gem is too terrifying. Admiral Waring states period. Even more powerful than Dragon Ball. Klin. Why does the balance of the universe require the annihilation of half of all living things? Kurosaki Ichigo. Infinite gems, I want them. Hero King Gilgamesh. Could the time gem be able to control time? Yehey. Almost as long as the user of the time stone is powerful enough, he can travel through time and space, and change both the past and the future. Doctor Strange. As soon as Doctor Strange's barrage came out, the world fell into deathly silence. The next second. Boom. The world was in an uproar, and everyone looked at Doctor Strange's barrage in disbelief. Can the time gem travel through time and space and change the world? This is too buggy, right? Even many people in the world of JoA were confused at this moment. Traveling through time and space is something that only superpowers can do. Now you only need 1 gem to do it. At this time, a barrage on the screen caught everyone's attention. Is it that difficult to travel through time? Doraemon's time machine can do it, Nobita. Boom. As soon as the sentence came out, everyone felt like a thunder falling in their minds, and they were completely confused. Perfect. In the world. Enlan stared at the scene blankly, the corners of his eyes began to twitch wildly, and his mouth twitched fiercely. When did it become so easy to travel through time and change the past and future? The screen continues to play. Since Vision left Tony's side, he fell in love with Wanda, but recently the Mind Stone began to become unstable, and Vision decided to return to New York. At this time, the two learned about what was happening in the city from TV. Wanda realized that this incident was unusual and begged Vision not to go back. Just as Vision was about to say something, a weapon pierced his body. Wanda was also knocked away by the enemy. Faced with the fierce offensive of Thanos Man, General Deathblade, and Proxima Centauri, Scarlet Witch was completely unable to withstand the attack. Vision's system was also destroyed by General Deathblade's special weapon and was unable to exert its full strength for a while. Scarlet Witch attempts to escape through the air with Vision. Unexpectedly, he was hit by the light waves of the Dark Knight star Proxima Centauri and fell down. Seeing that they were about to lose their retreat, a familiar figure appeared. Call out. Lifting the spear in his hand, Proxima Centauri threw the spear fiercely at the figure. However, it was easily caught with one hand. Looking at the person coming from behind, Vision and Scarlet Witch had some expectations in their eyes. "This is the man worth looking forward to, Captain." The next moment, the dead Blade General was also kicked out by the Falcon. Black Widow also appeared, and a few people started a melee. In the end, Proxima Centauri and the others started the spacecraft teleportation and escaped. As soon as the camera turned, on a certain planet, the Zirida army was hunting down the local aborigines. The young Gamera was separated from her mother and met Thanos. Thanos felt that the child in front of him was a born warrior and decided to taking her in. The two held hands and walked under a building. Gamera put the dagger given by Thanos on her fingertips, trying to maintain balance. Behind her, about half of the indigenous people were wiped out. Gamera recalled the past and was a little lost. She said to Quill, "I know something that Thanos doesn't know. If he finds out, the entire universe will be in crisis, so I want you to promise me that if unfortunately, I was caught by Thanos, you must kill me." Quill was stunned, knowing that Gamera was serious this time. He swore in the name of his mother and agreed. The two looked at each other and kissed each other slowly. At this time, they discovered the destroyer who had been observing secretly. Soon after, Quill and the others arrived at the Zhiwa realm, and found that Thanos had captured the Collector and was questioning the whereabouts of the gems. Gamera did not obey Quill's instructions and rushed forward alone, but was broken by Thanos with his bare hands. Arms. Immediately afterwards, Gamera dodged, stabbed Thanos in the neck, took out a dagger, and stabbed Thanos in the chest with the final blow. It seemed that she had won the battle. But Gamera was not happy because of this. She looked at Thanos slowly falling and shed sad tears. Suddenly, Thanos's voice came from the side. "Are you sad for me, daughter?" It turned out that everything just now was an illusion created by the Reality Stone. The field of knowledge and ignorance had long been destroyed, and Thanos also took the third stone. Thanos easily controlled Gamera and used the Reality Stone to break the Destroyer and others into solid fragments. At this time, Quill pointed his gun at Thanos. She yelled at him to let Gamera go, but Gamera reminded her with tears in her eyes, "Don't forget, if you want me to promise, it's not him you want to kill." Quill stared at Gamera's eyes and face. It was a bit heavy. He knew that he was no match for Thanos. After saying "I love you," he painfully pulled the trigger. But the gun actually turned into a bubble under the influence of the Reality Stone. Thanos admired Quill's courage. He left everyone alive and left with Gamera. On the other hand, the captain and the others returned to the Avengers base, and Banner was also there. Since the captain and his team had already become internationally wanted criminals, they could not get any help from the National Defense Minister. At present, the Avengers are scattered, Hawkeye retires, and Ant-Man is under house arrest. The enemy may attack at any time. Vision knows that everyone is in a very threatening situation and says that only by completely destroying the gem can he prevent Thanos from getting it. Among all the people present, only the Scarlet Witch, who has similar abilities to the gem, can do it. The Scarlet Witch understands what Vision means, but the price is too high, because destroying the gem means killing her lover, and the captain, nor will he allow his companions to sacrifice their lives. When everyone was in a dilemma, Banner said that he might have a way to separate the minds of Vision and gems, but they lacked the relevant equipment and manpower. So, Captain led everyone to Wakanda to seek help from the Black Panther, and Bucky also got a new arm. On the spaceship, Ebony Maw trapped Doctor Strange and tried to use magic to torture Doctor Strange and force him to hand over the Time Stone. Iron Man hid aside and observed the situation. Spider-Man appeared in front of him. Tony was a little angry and accused Peter of not intervening, because this operation may have come and gone, but Peter can't go back now. In desperation, the two began to discuss how to save Doctor Strange. Peter looked at his surroundings and suddenly remembered the scene in Alien 2. So Iron Man appeared in front of Ebony Maw, and while he wasn't paying attention, he blasted a hole in the spaceship, killed Ebony Maw, and successfully rescued Doctor Strange. Peter introduces himself to Doctor Strange. "I'm Peter." "I'm Doctor Strange," Doctor Strange said. "Oh, are we going to use nicknames? Then my name is Spider-Man." Peter looked at Doctor Strange, a little nervous. Doctor Strange did not reply and walked to Tony's side. Tony wanted to directly attack Thanos' lair according to the route of the spaceship and catch him off guard. Doctor Strange agreed with Tony's plan, but if the situation is dangerous, the Doctor will decisively abandon the two of them and give priority to protecting the gem. After all, this gem is related to the survival of the entire universe. Tony understood what the Doctor meant. After he approved Peter to join the Avengers, he set off for Titan. "What a bold idea! How dare you? Thanos is so powerful, why are you going to kill him? Come on Iron Man, Spider-Man is so cute. I want to see the Avengers continue to come together and fight. This action will definitely take down Thanos. Thanos, that big bad guy, must be killed, otherwise the universe will be in danger. Daily confession Eisen is great. Jiguyuan is an eternal god." In the screen, countless barrages passed by. Some people questioned whether Iron Man's action this time would be too risky. After all, they have seen Thanos' strength. Some people think that Iron Man will definitely be able to destroy Thanos. Taking stock of the people in the world, starting with the fate of the country. Author, Red Lotus. Chapter 35. In a certain spaceship, Gamora is imprisoned here. She hates this place and hates that Thanos kidnapped her. Thanos said that he saved her. If he hadn't slaughtered half of the residents back then, Gamora's the planet has long since collapsed and disintegrated. Now, it's like paradise there, everyone lives and works in peace and contentment. Although the price is huge, in Thanos' eyes, it's all worth it. Because the resources of the universe are limited, if life is not controlled, it will eventually go extinct, and he is the only one who understands all this and dares to take action. Gamora looked at the madman in front of her without saying a word. Why does Thanos decide the life and death of others? In the martial arts world, Guojing had an angry look on his face. Most of the people in the other worlds were also extremely angry, but there were also a small number of people who felt that Thanos was right. In fact, the reason why Thanos captured Gamora, because he knew that his daughter had obtained the whereabouts of the Soul Stone. Gamora did not admit it and swore it on her own life. Thanos knew her character and was going to threaten Nebula's life to force her to let go. It turned out that, not long ago, Nebula came back to assassinate Thanos, but was accidentally caught. Gamora couldn't bear to see her sister tortured, so she decided to take Thanos to Vormir, where the Soul Stone is. After Gamora and Thanos left, Nebula killed the guards, broke free from the restraining light, and informed Quill that they should come to Titan as soon as possible. On the other side, Thor talked about his experience to the raccoon. Now that Thor has no relatives around him, the raccoon is a little worried about Thor's life status. Thor pretended to be strong, saying that all the anger and regret would motivate him. This time, he would never be defeated by Thanos again, because he had nothing to lose now. In order to comfort Thor, the raccoon gave Thor the eye he stole last time. At this moment, they arrived at Nidav, but there was deathly silence here, and the entire star dimmed. Thor felt very strange, because the furnace here it has not stopped for centuries. It turns out that Thanos attacked Nidav in order to make the Infinity Gauntlet. Everyone except the Dwarf King was killed, but as long as Thor and the others can restart the furnace and awaken the core of the dying star, you can create Asgard's most powerful weapon, the Storm Hammer. It is said that this weapon is not only powerful, but can even summon the Rainbow Bridge, so Thor asked the raccoon to open the spaceship and drive the star to rotate. On the other hand, Tony and the others arrived at Titan. By chance, Quill and his team also arrived. As a result, both sides mistakenly thought that each other was Thanos' men and started fighting. After a fight, Quill caught Spider-Man and Tony subdued him. Destroyer. I only ask once, where is Gamera? Hold Spider-Man hostage. Quill pointed the gun in his hand at Thor and said. Okay, then tell me first, who is Gamera? Seeing this, Tony looked a little nervous. Then tell me first, why are you talking about Gamera? The destroyer on the Earth also spoke. Tell me where she is, or I guarantee I'll blow up this little monster. Quill ignored the two of them, and a cold voice came out. Then come here, if you dare to touch my people, I will kill them, come here. Seeing this, I asked you not to be outdone, and also threatened. Phew. Tony's left energy cannon stretched out, and a strong energy was rapidly condensing. Shoot, Quill, I can handle it. The destroyer on the ground looked at Tony's energy cannon in panic. In the end, everyone revealed their identities to each other, and the farce came to an end. Tony wanted to discuss a plan to deal with Thanos with Quill, but Quill and the others thought jumping. Tony expressed that he was completely unable to communicate normally. At this time, Doctor Strange on the side predicted the future through the Time Stone. He said that he had seen more than 14 million outcomes of this battle, and they only won once. Oh my God, can the Time Stone predict the future? In the world of kings, Hua Mulan looked incredible. Wouldn't it be possible to predict every battle and then be victorious in every battle? The king of Lanling on the side was also a little confused. What a perverted ability. The Infinity Stones are indeed divine objects. In the DC world, Superman said incredulously. Out of more than 14 million battles, he only won once. How ridiculous. In the world of Naruto, Madara Uchiha has a look of disdain on his face. What a terrifying ability, but it's still not enough to fight Thanos. In the world of Genshin Impact, Zhongli took a sip of tea. Time Gem, this ability is countless times more perverted than the ancestral talisman. In the world of martial arts, Xiao Diao looked shocked. As the camera turned, Gamera took Thanos to a mountain top in Vormir. The person responsible for guarding the Soul Stone was the Red Skull. Since the Soul Stone represents wisdom, it occupies a very special position among the Infinity Stones. In order to ensure that everyone who owns it can understand its power, the gem requires a sacrifice, and the sacrifice is the soul of the person she loves. After hearing what the Red Skull said, Gamera burst out laughing. In Gamera's view, Thanos without the one he loves would never be able to get the Soul Stone, but Thanos looked at Gamera, and a line of tears fell from the corners of his eyes. The tears were not shed for himself. The Red Skull looked at Thanos' tears and spoke. Looking at the Red Skull who spoke, Gamera's smile gradually solidified. Thanos slowly approached Gamera, while Gamera's body kept retreating. No. This is not love. Looking at Thanos approaching step by step, Gamera said in disbelief. I once ignored my destiny, but this time I can't ignore it anymore, even for you. Looking at Gamera quietly, Thanos' voice slowly came out. Hearing this, the expression on Gamera's face became complicated, and then Gamera snatched Thanos' dagger and inserted it into her own in the abdomen. However, the dagger was turned into a bubble again by the power of the Reality Stone. Sorry, little guy. After saying that, Thanos endured his grief and threw Gamera off the cliff. In the end, Thanos successfully obtained the fourth Infinity Stone. And when this scene fell into the eyes of the people in the world, they were also in a trance. No, as one can imagine, Thanos' favorite person is actually Gamera. Moreover, in order to wipe out half of the life in the universe, Thanos actually sacrificed the person he loved most. Is Thanos really a villain? Picture one turn. In Wakanda, Black Panther's sister said that she could heal Vision's wounds, but she would need a certain amount of time. Suddenly, an unknown spacecraft crashed into Wakanda's energy barrier. The captain asked Scarlet Witch to protect him beside Vision. The Black Panther was also preparing to meet the enemy just in case. At the same time, Thor and the Raccoon cooperated and successfully activated the furnace, but the machine at the Rainbow Circle was suddenly damaged and the heat energy was transmitted halfway. Stopped. The Dwarf King said that it would take him a few minutes to completely heat the metal. Thor thought for a while and decided to open the Rainbow Circle of the furnace himself. However, doing so would undoubtedly be suicide, because Thor's body would be exposed to the high heat energy. Down, completely destroyed. But in Thor's view, without a battle axe, facing Thanos is a dead end, so it is better to let go and fight. So Thor endured the severe pain and opened the Rainbow Circle at the star. Finally, with Thor's efforts, the heating was completed. However, Thor also fell into a state of frequent death because he could not withstand the huge energy. Only by picking up the axe could he be reborn. However, the Dwarf King did not. There was no axe handle connected to the weapon. Groot, who was playing a game on the side, seemed to be infected by Thor's spirit and silently walked to the weapon. The wooden vine in his hand stretched out and grabbed the axe handle, feeling the terror on it. Temperature, Groot screamed. But in the end, Groot succeeded in connecting the battle axe together, using his own arm as the handle of the battle axe to complete the battle axe. On the ground, Thor's fingers suddenly moved click. Click. Located at the battle axe, surrounded by countless thunders, the battle axe began to levitate, and a flash of lightning burst out in Thor's hand. On the other side, all the tribes of Wakanda gathered together. Banner put on the Hulkbuster armor made to fight against him, and the captain also got a new shield. At Proxima Centauri's command, a large number of ferocious monsters rushed out of the spacecraft. Fortunately, there was an energy barrier to stop the enemy. The momentum weakened slightly, but some monsters still slipped in. Everyone immediately launched an attack. War Machine and Falcon threw a large number of bombs from the air, bombing wildly. At this time, the monsters outside the barrier scattered in all directions, preparing to break through from the rear, in order to keep the enemy in front and protect Vision. Black Panther asked his men to open a small opening and let the monsters in. The war was about to break out. Thousands of monsters rushed in densely like a tide. And the attack of this group of monsters was extremely fierce, and they were not afraid of death at all. Even the captain and the others were unable to do anything about it, and everyone was once at a disadvantage. At this moment, a beam of rainbow light fell from the sky. Boom! A handle wrapped in lightning, the battle axe in it, was thrown out of the rainbow beam, constantly passing through the group of monsters. Every time it passed through an area, several monsters would fall. After the axe cleared the monsters around everyone, it returned to the rainbow beam. The beam of light gradually dispersed, and Thor, the god of thunder, stood majestically on the ground holding a battle axe and a raccoon on his shoulder. Looking at the visitor, the captain and others showed a hint of joy on their faces. "Ha ha, tremble, you bastards." Inside the Hulkbuster armor, Banner's head stretched out, laughing unbridled. "Thanos, come out and die." With a roar, Thor held the battle axe and rushed towards the enemies. Boom! As soon as he stepped on the ground, a huge hole was sunk in the ground, and the ground with a radius of several hundred meters quickly cracked. Only Thor could be seen. Thor's body jumped into the air, surrounded by endless thunder and lightning. His eyes were filled with lightning, and the battle axe in his hand was raised high. The terrifying lightning filled Thor's body, and the thunder and lightning surrounding his body flashed unbridled the next moment. An axe blasted out. Without the slightest hesitation, the battle axe in Thor's hand hit the ground heavily. Boom! In the sky, endless lightning struck down, and the bright thunder light illuminated the surroundings, and the entire area it turned pale. Within a few miles, countless thunderbolts fell. Bang! An earth-shaking loud noise resounded through the sky. Boom! The earth began to tear apart, and cracks like spider webs quickly spread to the entire earth, extending tens of thousands of meters away. Endless hurricanes swept out with Thor as the center, sweeping everything around wantonly. The terrifying force caused the earth to shake violently. Thousands of densely packed monsters were here, all of them were destroyed in one blow. Gilug. Looking at the scene in the world of heavens, countless people swallowed involuntarily. This blow severely refreshed the worldview of the low-level martial arts world, and even made the world of high-level martial arts people can't help but look at it with side eyes. Okay, what a terrifying blow. In the world of martial arts, Guojing stared at the scene in a daze. In the world of demon slayers, the ghosts led by the Ghost King Onitsuji were even more pale, their eyes widened, and their whole bodies were trembling involuntarily, as if they were under the sun. The feeling will dissipate in the next second. What a terrifying blow. This battle axe has such powerful power. In the world of pirates, Sengoku's eyes widened. Break the darkness with thunder. In the world of kings, Sikongzhen looked at the scene and began to get excited involuntarily. As expected of the god of thunder, he is indeed powerful. In the world of Dragon Ball, Kakarot has a serious look on his face. In the world of Marvel, this author is so awesome, he actually made me look so handsome. Thunder God looked at the scene and touched his big belly with some embarrassment. You get the advantage and still act like a good boy. The captain looked disgusted. All Thor has left now is a big belly, Banner said with a smile. At this time, Tony walked in from the door and said, I have to say, Thor is truly worthy of being the god of thunder. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Taking stock of the people in the world, starting with the fate of the country. Author, Red Lotus. Chapter 36. On the other hand, Thanos returned to Titan and met Doctor Strange, while the others were hiding around and waiting for opportunities. Thanos explained his philosophy to the Doctor and used the Reality Stone to show what Titan looked like before. Titan was once as beautiful and peaceful as other planets. But due to population explosion and resource depletion, it came to an end. Now, other planets in the universe are facing similar difficulties. Thanos said that after he has 6 Infinity Stones, he only needs to snap his fingers to wipe out half of all life without feeling pain. This is random, not personal, absolutely fair, no matter how noble or humble, and after Thanos snaps his fingers, he will also find a peaceful planet and retire silently. Obviously, Doctor Strange would not agree with his idea. Iron Man launched an attack from the sky, and people began to rush out from all around, constantly attacking Thanos. However, even if everyone attacks together, the effect is still very little. In front of Thanos with 4 gems, Tony and the others are no match at all. At this time, Nebula rushed out and struggled with Thanos. Doctor Strange took advantage of Thanos's unpreparedness and used the Sector Red Band to wrap Thanos's ears and left hand, trying to take off the Infinity Gauntlet. Others also stepped in to limit Thanos's actions, but Thanos's spirit and strength were very strong. Mantis, who was responsible for putting Thanos to sleep, said that he could no longer hold on, and Iron Man and the others must hurry up. Quill looked at the restrained Thanos and asked him about the whereabouts of Gamera. Mantis felt Thanos's emotions and said he is mourning someone. Quill seemed to understand something and said angrily, "Asshole, tell me you didn't do this. I have to do it." There was a painful expression on Thanos' face. "No, you didn't." As he said that, Quill raised his right hand and hit Thanos hard on the face. "Quill, stop it, stop it." Iron Man on the side hurriedly grabbed Quill, while Spider-Man kept trying to take off the Infinity Gauntlet from Thanos' hand. At this time, Thanos woke up, took back the glove, and easily knocked down everyone. And used the power of the Power Gem and the Space Gem to attract a large number of meteorites to attack Iron Man and the others. At the same time, due to the arrival of Thor and the others, the war situation on the Earth was reversed. The raccoon stared at Bucky's steel arm and expressed his "this arm must be fixed." When Thor and the captain met again, they couldn't help but ask about each other's new hairstyle and new beard. At this moment, the enemy sent a huge rolling chariot. When he saw that the Black Widow was about to be involved in the chariot, the Scarlet Witch appeared and stopped the hybrid tank. Proxima Centauri discovered the traces of the Scarlet Witch and notified the Deathblade General hiding in a place to quickly seize the gem. The Deathblade General fought all the way to the laboratory, and Vision's treatment was also forced to interrupt. Vision and General Deathblade struggled together and rolled out of the room together. Scarlet Witch wanted to support Vision, but was stopped by Proxima Centauri, so Black Widow and the captain of the Wakanda Guards took action together. Cooperating with Scarlet Witch, he successfully killed Proxima Centauri. On the other side, Banner drove the Hulkbuster armor to deal with Black Dwarf, but he was not the opponent of Black Dwarf. After some entanglement, Banner happened to install the broken armor arm on into the hands of the enemy. As a result, the Black Dwarf was carried away by the arm, constantly hitting the invisible defensive barrier, and finally killed the Black Dwarf in the explosion. At the same time, in order to save Vision, the captain changed the death blade. The generals were entangled. The captain knocked down the enemy's weapon with one move, but was still pinned down by the opponent. When he saw that the captain was about to lose his support, Vision picked up the weapon and pierced the enemy from behind. This battle it was the Avengers who won. On the other hand, Spider-Man shuttled back and forth among the falling meteorites and rescued the unconscious Quill and the others. Doctor Strange also started fighting Thanos. He raised his hands, and two demons appeared in Doctor Strange's hands. A red magic circle, under a fierce operation, several red lightnings rushed towards Thanos. Wherever the thunder and lightning passed, countless meteorites shattered. Bang! Thanos jumped up, with a purple left hand. The light wave was smashed out fiercely, and it quickly attacked Doctor Strange. Bang! Doctor Strange raised his hands, and an invisible barrier blocked all Thanos' attacks, and rushed towards Thanos at a faster speed. Buzz! Looking at the flying barrier, Thanos didn't hesitate at all, and punched out. Click! The entire barrier was shattered like glass. He raised his left hand, and a terrifying energy ball several feet in size condensed in Thanos' hand. The next moment, the terrifying energy ball rushed forward instantly, rushing towards Doctor Strange at an unparalleled speed. Buzz! The energy gathered in his hands. Doctor Strange stretched out his hands, and a golden magic circle appeared in front of him, sweeping away all the terrifying energy balls. Resist! With a slight jump, Doctor Strange's body was suspended in the air, transforming into countless arms like the thousand-armed Avalokitesvara. The next moment, Doctor Strange's body transformed into thousands of identical bodies, and Thanos became center, surrounding him. And a red beam appeared in the hands of all Doctor Strange. Phew! The beam was thrown out, wrapping Thanos's arms tightly. Looking at the beam of light wrapped around his arm, Thanos clenched his left hand tightly. Buzz! The ability of the infinite gems is activated. The next second, all the transformed figures and beams of Doctor Strange disappeared. And Doctor Strange himself was even more staggering. Looking at Doctor Strange in mid-air, a faint smile appeared on Thanos's face, and then Doctor Strange was sucked over and Thanos grabbed his neck tightly. After the Doctor's defeat, Iron Man stood up. Call out! Call out! Call out! Behind Iron Man, several small missiles flew out and flew towards Thanos. Thanos raised his left arm and blocked all the missiles. Seeing this, Iron Man's body flew up, staggered Thanos with a flying kick, and transformed his two steel arms into two sledgehammers, slamming Thanos down into the rubble. Standing up, Thanos stretched out his right hand, grabbed Tony's helmet in an instant, pulled it off, and then punched it out. Call out! A violent sonic boom rang in Iron Man's ears. Without any time to think, Iron Man raised his arms, trying to resist Thanos' fist. Boom! With a sound like the clash of gold and steel, Iron Man was knocked to the ground heavily. The next moment, purple light overflowed from Thanos' hand, and a purple lightning pierced the atmosphere, rushing towards Iron Man's position with lightning speed. At the same time, a huge shield appeared in Iron Man's hand. Boom! The terrifying purple light hit Iron Man's shield heavily, and the terrifying force caused Iron Man's body to be continuously impacted and retreated. On the ground, a huge mark appeared. Leading Zidian to the right, Iron Man dropped the shield in his hand, moved, and flew towards Thanos quickly, followed by a kick. Boom! Stomping Thanos' left hand hard on the ground, Iron Man turned around, his left arm transformed into a giant hammer, and hit Thanos hard on the face. After doing it for a long time, I only shed this little blood. Feeling the pain on his face, Thanos wiped his face, glanced at the blood in his hands and said lightly. The next moment. Phew! Iron Man's body was overturned by Thanos, and then in Iron Man's eyes, Thanos the huge fist fell instantly. Without any time to think, Iron Man raised his arms to resist. Bang! 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 Thanos' fist did not pause at all, and one punch after another landed on Iron Man's body, terrifying. The huge force caused the ground behind Iron Man to crack continuously, and a huge pit sunk into the ground. He grabbed Iron Man with his right hand, and the terrifying purple light lingered in Thanos' hand. Boom! Blow out with a punch. The unparalleled giant, the force instantly blew Iron Man's body away. Standing up, Iron Man looked at Thanos with a smile, approaching his body step by step, and the light waves from his hands suddenly shot out. G. 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 Two golden light waves came together. It shot out, but it still failed to resist Thanos' advancing body, and was easily blocked by the Infinity Gauntlet in Thanos' hand. When he got closer, Thanos' left arm fell down. Bang! With difficulty resisting Thanos' left arm, Iron Man, a dagger in his left hand, stretched out, and then stabbed Thanos fiercely. Phew! The dagger, flashing with cold light, cut through the atmosphere, extremely sharp. Bang! With his right hand stretched out, Thanos easily grabbed Iron Man's dagger the next second. Poof! In Tony's incredible eyes, the dagger instantly pierced his abdomen. In the end, Doctor Strange voluntarily handed over the Time Stone in order to save Tony's life. And Thanos also got the Time Stone. Finally, he went to Earth. Tony didn't understand why Doctor Strange did this. Doctor Strange seemed to have seen through everything and said, "We have entered the endgame." On Earth, Thanos was teleported to the captain and the others through the space gems. Many heroes stepped forward to try to stop Thanos. However, in front of Thanos, who had 5 Infinity Stones, the strength of the superheroes seemed extremely weak, and each one was defeated. Easily knocked down. While everyone was delaying Thanos, Vision asked Scarlet Witch to quickly destroy the gem. Scarlet Witch understood that she had no choice. She endured her grief and destroyed the Mind Stone on her lover's head. But for Thanos, who obtained the Time Stone, it was completely meaningless. Thanos broke the time-ear barrier, restored the Mind Stone to its original appearance, and then took it off from under Vision's forehead. Will shine with golden light. The Mind Stone was slowly placed into the Infinity Gauntlet, and colorful, terrifying energy instantly spread throughout Thanos' entire body. A terrifying aura spread out instantly. The next moment, Thunder, Thor appeared, holding a battle axe and throwing it fiercely in Thanos' direction. Buzz. Raising his left hand, the Infinity Gauntlet in Thanos' hand emits a bright beam of light, trying to block the battle axe. However, even the power of the gem still failed to stop the battle axe, and the huge battle axe was instantly embedded in Thanos' body. Approaching, Thor pushed the half-handled battle axe exposed outside Thanos' body firmly into Thanos' body. Ah! As Thor pushed the battle axe, Thanos' roar of pain echoed through the sky. You should aim for my head. Taking a few deep breaths, Thanos looked at Thor and said. The next moment, Thanos slowly raised his left hand. Snap! A snapping sound rang in Thor's ears. The screen turned, Thanos appeared in a mysterious place and saw the young Gamera. The girl's eyes were a little sad and she said, what is the price of your success? Thanos looked at the young Gamera in front of him, with a trace of sadness in his eyes and said everything. The screen turned again, and the infinity gauntlet in Thanos' hand seemed to have been destroyed. Thor looked confused and loudly asked Thanos what he had done. Thanos ignored Thor and directly used the power of the space gem to escape. The world suddenly becoming quiet, Bucky called Steve and disappeared out of thin air. Sure enough, just like Thanos said before, half of all life was randomly wiped out. They couldn't feel any pain, as if they had never been there before. This world is the same. On Titan, something strange happened to Quill and the others. Peter was a little scared. He hugged Tony with one hand and cried, I don't want to leave yet, Mr. Stark. After that, Peter turned into dust in front of Tony's eyes. Tony's face looked a little heavy. Now, only he and Nebula are left here. And on Earth, the only survivors are Thor, Captain, and Banner. Black Widow, Raccoon, and War Machine. On the other side, Thanos came to a peaceful planet. His eyes were staring into the distance, not knowing what he was thinking. On the other hand, Director Fury discovered that the person on the bus suddenly turned into pieces. He realized that something was wrong, and immediately ran back to the car and took out a communicator, but the next second, he also turned into dust and disappeared. Looking at this scene, the heavens fell into silence. The sound of snapping fingers still rings in their ears. Isn't it? Actually wiped out half of all life in the universe. In the world of martial arts, Guo Jing was stunned and said in disbelief. How is this possible? How can a mere snap of the fingers be so powerful? In the world of One Punch Man, Genos looked at the scene in disbelief. It's the power of the Infinity Gauntlet, which brings together the power of gems. Besides, Saitama said solemnly. It is not difficult to imagine that if Thanos appeared in their world and that finger was snapped, even if it was stronger than him, it would turn into dust and fly away in an instant. Haha, did Thanos win this battle? In the world of pirates, Blackbeard laughed unbridled. Impossible, Iron Man and the others failed to stop Thanos. On the sea, Luffy's eyes widened and he shouted in disbelief. Thanos actually destroyed half of all life. This enemy is so terrifying. In the world of Genshin Impact, Zhongli squeezed the cup in his hand. This kind of power is already comparable to Lord Quan Wang. In the world of Dragon Ball, Beerus, the god of destruction, widened his eyes in disbelief. How is this possible? This kind of power has surpassed the great emperor and reached an unprecedented level. The beings in the restricted area of life in the sky covered with leaves roared in disbelief. They felt unparalleled fear towards this kind of power. Even when they were at their peak, they could not reach 1% of the terrifying energy as strong as them. They can only turn into dust in front of the snap of fingers. Taking stock of the people in the world, starting with the fate of the country. Author, Red Lotus. Chapter 37. After the Titanic War, the only remaining Tony and Nebula were rescued by Captain Marvel. After Thanos retired to the mountains and forests, he was killed by the Avengers. However, the Infinity Stones had been destroyed by Thanos and could not resurrect everyone. Then, everyone thought of making a time shuttle. With Tony's help, the time shuttle was finally built. After gaining the support of Pepper, Tony, and everyone once again embarked on a feat of saving the world. Time and space travel. In the Marvel world, every time and space travel will create a parallel universe, which can also be called a parallel world. The Avengers traveled from the main universe to parallel universes at different points in time to intercept the gems of that universe, and then brought the gems to the main universe, and then used the intercepted gems to make a wishing snap again. So the Avengers call this time travel method time and space hijacking. There are 6 gems in total, but the Avengers now only have 10. They have to work in teams of 2 to take care of them when performing tasks. Fortunately, Black Widow suddenly thought that 3 Infinity Stones should be found in the 2012 City War. In addition to the Mind Scepter and the Cosmic Cube, Strange Sanctuary is also in New's place, so the team members who traveled there were adjusted to 4 people to intercept 3 gems at the same time, and the other 3 groups were divided into 2 groups each. Each person brings back a gem. Next, they must act carefully, because the few Pym particles left only allow them to act once. However, when Banner came to the parallel universe, he did not meet Doctor Strange as expected in the City Sanctuary in 2012. Instead, he met the Ancient One. The Ancient One was not surprised by Banner's arrival, but explained to Banner parallel universe. When Banner revealed that Doctor Strange handed over the Time Stone for Tony, Ancient One understood. Finally, when Ancient One handed over the Time Stone, he said something meaningful. "We all depend on you." On the other side, Tony and the Captain had an accident when they intercepted the gems. The 6 gems were indispensable, so Tony came up with a plan. He planned to use the last Pym particles with the Captain to travel to another parallel universe to supplement Pym, and secondly, they could intercept the Cosmic Cube. So, the two went to another parallel universe and obtained the Cosmic Cube. In the end, after sacrificing the Black Widow, all the gems were successfully intercepted, but no one knew, unfortunately, the nebula that sneaked back was no longer the original nebula, but the nebula that was loyal to Thanos in the parallel universe. Because everyone was so sad about the death of the Black Widow, they had long ignored that the nebula in front of them had already been lost. Then everyone put all their energy into the research and development of the gloves. So the question is, who will snap his fingers? Even Thanos almost died when he snapped his fingers, and I am afraid that a mortal body cannot withstand this divine power. It seems that only Banner is the best candidate, because the Infinity Stones mainly release gamma rays, so the entire Avengers base switched to a defensive posture. Banner made a wish to wear gloves, but as soon as he put on the gloves, Infinity, the magical power of the gem, instantly eroded Banner's body. This power was still beyond everyone's expectations. During the struggle with God, Banner used the power of life to successfully gain extremely short-term control and endured huge pressure. The pain was exchanged for the resurrection of thousands of lives. Bang! Banner's body collapsed heavily to the ground. This scene made everyone in the world fall into a trap. Is there such an operation? I didn't expect that he would have this skill. He is worthy of being an Iron Man, he is really awesome. In the world of Naruto, Orochimaru looked shocked. Parallel universes are understandable, but how was the time shuttle created? It's actually possible to do this. I've learned a lot. In the world of Dragon Ball, Bulma looked amazed. The Marvel world is such an amazing world. In the fantasy world, many powerful people exclaimed in admiration. In life, no one has ever been unhappy, but they cannot change it. However, in such a world, one can rely on the power of infinite gems to heal the regrets in their hearts. At the same time, an alien battleship appeared outside the window. Because just now, the undercover Nebula secretly activated the time shuttle, opening the door to war for the Thanos Legion in the parallel universe. The Thanos Legion, which traveled from the parallel universe, launched a violent attack on the Avengers' headquarters. Countless missiles instantly reduced the headquarters to rubble. The Avengers were caught off guard and fell into the passivity they had before the war, which put the main universe in danger again. For Thanos in the parallel universe, this is the fastest way to obtain the Infinity Stones. Fortunately, Hawkeye was aware of it and protected the Infinity Gauntlet and Infinity Stones. However, Hawkeye was captured by Nebula from the parallel universe and took away the Infinity Gauntlet. Fortunately, Gamera from the parallel universe took action in time and killed Nebula. On the other side, Thanos in the parallel universe made it clear through his memory that he was Destiny, and mocked his own cowardice in the main universe. In his opinion, it is not enough to destroy half of the lives with just a snap of the fingers. The remaining people will still remember these things and try their best to reverse the outcome. Therefore, this time Thanos plans to destroy the universe and once again build a grateful universe. As soon as the camera turned, the superheroes began to fight Thanos. "Hey, Thor, give it to me." Iron Man unfolded the absorption device on his back and spoke to Thor. Hearing this, Thor did not hesitate at all. A thunder column several feet in length suddenly fell from the sky and merged into Thor's body. The bright thunder, the light surrounded the battle axe and Thor's hammer in his hand. Bang! The battle axe and the giant hammer collided together. A terrifying thunder column blasted towards the absorption device on the back of Iron Man. At the same time, the lightning energy was absorbed. Iron Man blasted out several lasers in an instant. The terrifying lasers penetrated the void, causing the space to distort, and rushed towards Thanos with unparalleled power. Looking at this scene, Thanos' face changed and he turned the weapon in his hand. Resist the laser. Fortunately, Thanos' weapon is not a mortal thing. Coupled with Thanos' terrifying strength, it can actually block Iron Man's laser and get closer to Iron Man's position step by step. On the other side, Thor was not idle either. He threw up the hammer in his hand and blasted it out with an axe. Phew! The terrifying force caused the hammer to fly out quickly and rush towards Thanos with a violent sonic boom. At the same time, Thanos had arrived. In front of Iron Man, he blocked all the lasers on his body, and then grabbed Iron Man and used it as a human shield to block the oncoming hammer. Boom! The sound of a clash of gold and steel was deafening. The terrifying giant hammer directly smashed Iron Man's body. He flew out, and after wandering around on the ground for several times, he fell into a coma. On the other side, the captain's body came face to face, and after a fierce fight, he was punched away by Thanos. Bang! The captain's body hit a hill hard, and the terrifying force turned the entire hill into powder. Looking at the charging Thor, Thanos suddenly threw the double-edged knife in his hand. A sliding shovel hit to avoid the rotating double blades. Blade, the giant axe in Thor's hand, braved the terrifying lightning and smashed towards Thanos' body. Phew! The battle axe filled with lightning pierced the atmosphere, tore apart the space, and fell towards Thanos with unparalleled power. And at the same time, Thanos' double-edged sword also returned to his hand. Without any hesitation, Thanos blocked Thor's terrifying blow with the double-edged sword. But even so, the terrifying power still made Thanos' expression change. It was ferocious. Before he had time to think about it, Thanos suddenly raised his double-edged sword, causing Thor's huge power to be offset instantly. However, the double-edged sword in Thanos' hand also flew out. Looking at the one in Thor's hand, tomahawk, Thanos punched Thor's arm fiercely, and smashed the tomahawk out. Thor, who had lost his tomahawk, was obviously no match for Thanos, and was lifted into the air by Thanos with one hand and was severely beaten. Falling to the ground. Bang! 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 Without the slightest hesitation, Thanos raised his left fist, and the terrifying power was concentrated in it, and then he landed punch after punch. The huge fist directly caused Thor to lose consciousness for a short time and was knocked out. Thanos fell into the ruins. Bang! The terrifying force directly caused the entire ruins to shake violently. At the same time, Thanos' body followed closely, and bang! The terrifying fists exceeded the speed of sound, moving at a speed of every second. Thousands of punches fell at a speed. The unparalleled force directly caused Thor's face to be completely disfigured and blood flowed. Phew! Thor on the ground came to his senses and felt the strong pain in his body. He raised his left hand to summon the battle axe was there. Phew! The psychic battle axe quickly flew towards Thor. Looking at the flying battle axe, Thanos grabbed it with both hands, swung the battle axe and smashed it down towards Thor. Fortunately, Thor reacted in time and held the axe handle with both hands. The two were locked in a struggle. Just when the giant axe was about to be embedded into Thor's chest by Thanos, Thor's hammer in the distance seemed to sense the crisis of its master and began to levitate on its own. Boom! Thor's hammer cut through the void, tearing apart the atmosphere and directly knocking Thanos' body away. But Thor's hammer did not stop at all, and flew in the other direction, falling into the hands of the captain. I knew it! Thor, who was leaning on the boulder, looked at the scene and said with a laugh, regardless of the blood in his mouth. Standing up, Thanos kicked Thor's body into the ground. Boom! The terrifying force directly transformed the boulder. As powder, the ground with a radius of hundreds of meters quickly cracked. Looking at the captain with the giant hammer in his hand, Thanos showed a faint smile on his face and walked towards the captain's position. The captain waved his hand. With Thor's hammer, they also rushed towards Thanos without any fear. In the blink of an eye, the two men's bodies were close to each other. Boom! Soon enough, the giant hammer in the captain's hand suddenly blasted out, with a violent sonic boom. The atmosphere was torn apart in an instant, and the unprepared Thanos was blasted away with unparalleled strength. Bang! The unparalleled power directly caused Thanos's body to fly thousands of meters. Without the slightest hesitation, the captain raised his shield, instantly blasted out, the round shield pierced the atmosphere and rushed towards Thanos with great fierceness. It was obvious that Thanos would not be knocked down so easily. Thanos stood up and blasted the shield away with a double-edged sword. Out! However, the captain once again blasted out the hammer in his hand, and after colliding with the shield, he hit Thanos's body hard from behind. The terrifying power directly caused Thanos to stumble and kneel on the ground. And the captain's body, like lightning, it quickly approached Thanos' body. At the same time, the shield and Thor's hammer returned to the captain's hand again. Bang! 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 Under the captain's fierce offensive, Thanos was once at a disadvantage. G. 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 A terrifying thunder light emerged from the giant hammer in his hand, and the captain swung it out without any hesitation. The terrifying lightning, several feet long, tore through the space, pierced the atmosphere, and flew away again with lightning speed. Thanos. He held up the giant hammer in his hand, controlled by the captain's Thor's hammer. Rumble. In the sky, the endless black clouds began to glow with thunder, and the thunder that resounded in the sky spread throughout the entire land in an instant. Everyone was in disbelief. Looking at this scene. Click. Boom. In the black cloud filled with lightning, a terrifying thunder column several feet in size instantly struck down. The bright white light illuminated the entire land instantly. Ah! The thunder struck without any surprise. The terrifying lightning directly made Thanos wail. Seeing this, the captain jumped up and blasted out with the hammer. However, Thanos' body rolled violently and avoided the captain's giant hammer. With his backhand, he knocked the captain away. Picking up the double-edged knife on the ground, Thanos started a close combat with the captain. After several rounds, the captain was instantly at a disadvantage, and even the giant hammer in his hand was blown away. I could only rely on the shield in my hand to resist. However, even though the shield in my hand was extremely hard, it was still broken into two halves by Thanos' double-edged sword. He raised the double-edged sword in his hand high, and under the captain's tightening in his pupils, Thanos swung his sword and knocked the captain away. In all my years of conquest, violence, and massacre, I have never been mixed with personal emotions. Glancing around at the superheroes, Thanos spoke. I now want you to know how I am going to deal with this stubborn, annoying, ant-like planet of yours. I will enjoy this process, and I will enjoy it very much. The words fell. A bright blue light fell in the sky, and Thanos' army resisted the battlefield. The dense army covered the entire land. Standing up with difficulty, the captain kept breathing without any fear. The captain looked at Thanos. He walked in the direction of the Overlord army without fear. At this time, a familiar voice sounded. Captain, can you hear me? Looking around in astonishment, the captain's expression was full of doubts. Captain, this is Sam, can you hear me? The voice came out again. The captain touched his ears, a little unbelievable. On your left. At the same time, a golden hole several feet wide appeared. Turning around and looking at the figure walking out of the golden hole, the captain was stunned. He saw the figures of Black Panther and others appearing. Then, a figure appeared in the void. Numerous golden holes were opened, and Quill, Doctor Strange, Falcon, Spider-Man and others appeared from the holes. Must win. Countless reinforcements arrived on the battlefield, and everyone shouted a slogan. On the other side, even Thor and Tony, who had been knocked down, stood up and looked at the scene with surprise on their faces. The Avengers. Assemble. Amid the captain's roar, everyone launched an attack on the Thanos Legion. A war was about to break out. I knew the Avengers would be able to do it. In the world of Conan, Yuanza looked excited. Yes, Tony and the others will definitely win. Xialan on the side clenched her fists. It's incredible. In the world of pirates, Whitebeard looked shocked. Iron Man! Iron Man! Iron Man! On the sea, Luffy and the others shouted excitedly, and even Chopper and the others couldn't help but dance. If you are in a desperate situation, you will not experience life and death in the 10 directions. In the world of kings, Li Xian looked up at the sky 45 degrees. A person can be destroyed, but he can never be defeated. Kai on the side also whispered silently. Go forward, Avengers, and win your victory. In the world of fairy tale, Natsu and others looked excited. In the world of Marvel. I see, I understand why Doctor Strange did this. Tony looked at the scene with a trace of sadness in his eyes. Obviously, he had understood everything about the cover of the previous video. And now, they will also go to the major parallel universes to intercept the Infinite Stones. Now it seems that all we need to do is prevent Nebula from participating in this operation, the captain on the side said. That's right, if Nebula goes, it's very likely that the mistakes in the video will be repeated. Thunder God Thor also looked in agreement with his big belly. However, Thanos in the parallel world should also be able to see the scene, right? Banner said. On the other side, Thanos from countless time periods also saw the scene, and the corners of his mouth began to rise slightly. Now, he already knows the location of the Infinity Stones through the video. Taking stock of the people in the world, starting with the fate of the country. Author, Red Lotus. Chapter 38. In the battlefield, superheroes showed off their prowess, and countless enemies fell in their hands. Hey, you'd never guess what happened. Do you remember we were in space? Then I turned into gray. Peter approached Tony and kept talking about his situation. Tony hugged Peter with a complicated expression on his face. Feels great. After the hug, Iron Man and Spider-Man also entered the battlefield again. And everyone also planned to send the Infinity Stones back to the parallel universe. Hey, you said we have a 1 in 14 million chance of winning, is it this time? Tony looked at Doctor Strange and asked. If I had told you, it wouldn't have happened. Looking at Tony, Doctor Strange replied. Hope you are right. Tony nodded. On the other side. Thanos saw the Infinity Gauntlet and the gems in Hawkeye's hand. At the same time, Hawkeye handed the gloves to Black Panther, but when Black Panther moved quickly, Thanos' body also appeared in front of him. At the same time, the Scarlet Witch also appeared. "You took everything from me." The angry Scarlet Witch began to fight Thanos. The Infinity Gauntlet was also twirling in the hands of others. In the sky, the huge battleship fired endless light waves and fell towards the ground. Boom! The terrifying light waves directly the ground was overturned, and countless explosions sounded everywhere. At the same time, the figure of Captain Marvel appeared in the sky. Violent sonic booms exploded around Captain Marvel. Her body exuded a bright halo, and her figure was like a meteor. It destroyed Thanos' battleship instantly. If it were like a god, Captain Marvel's body stood in the sky, quietly watching the battleship fall to the ground. After landing on the ground, the Infinity Gauntlet was hugged by Captain Marvel. Just as Captain Marvel was preparing when sending the Infinity Gauntlet back to the parallel universe, the double-edged sword in Thanos' hand hit the time shuttle. Boom! The terrifying explosion instantly blew Captain Marvel's body away, and the Infinity Gauntlet on him also fell into the ruins. Among them, looking at the Infinity Gauntlet falling from the ruins, Thanos swarmed up. At this time, Iron Man's figure appeared and stopped Thanos in time, but was blown away by Thanos' punch. Thor and Captain also appeared in Thanos. Next to Thanos, the two of them worked together to entangle Thanos' body, but they were still thrown away by Thanos. The moment Thanos picked up the Infinity Gauntlet, the figure of Captain Marvel also fell from the sky. He punched out. Captain Marvel's fists continued to bombard Thanos with a strange light. However, as strong as Captain Marvel, he was still thrown away by Thanos. Looking at the Infinity Gauntlet in his hand, Thanos slowly put it on his right arm. G. 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 Endless divine power continued to flow from the gloves into Thanos' body. The terrifying divine power made Thanos' expression become ferocious. At the moment Thanos was about to snap his fingers, Captain Marvel's body he rushed over again and stopped Thanos' movements. Grasping Thanos' two huge fingers, the two began to wrestle. Looking at Captain Marvel, who was constantly bursting out with divine power, Thanos had a look of surprise in his eyes. Next in an instant, he took the purple gem from the Infinity Gauntlet on his right arm and blended it into his left hand. The bright purple light condensed in Thanos' left hand, and the unparalleled gem energy filled his left hand. Without the slightest hesitation, Thanos punched out. The huge fist tore through the space, and Captain Marvel flew out in an instant with an unparalleled posture. On the side, the fallen Tony looked at this scene, his eyes full of complex colors. Doctor Strange looked at Tony, raised his left hand, and pointed towards Tony made a move. He merged the purple gem into the Infinity Gauntlet again, and the colorful light shone again. At the same time, Tony suddenly appeared in front of Thanos, grabbed the Infinity Gauntlet on Thanos' right hand with both hands, and tried to take it off. "Come down." However, the Infinity Gauntlet was tightly wrapped in Thanos' right hand and could not be taken off at all. Boom! Looking at Tony who was snatching the Infinity Gauntlet, Thanos raised his huge fist and slammed it down towards Tony. Bang! Without the slightest surprise, Tony was instantly blown away. Looking at the Infinity Gauntlet in his hand, Thanos had a joyful smile on his face. "I am Destiny." As he spoke, Thanos' right hand made a snapping motion. Bang! A crisp sound of steel clashing sounded. However, unlike what was expected, the Infinity Gauntlet did not emit the slightest light. Looking at Infinity incredulously glove, Thanos was stunned, and then turned his palm and looked at the back inlaid with gems. He saw that the back of the Infinity Gauntlet, where the 6 Infinity Stones were originally inlaid, was now empty. The corners of Thanos' eyes jumped wildly, and in an instant understanding what happened, he looked incredulously in the direction where Iron Man was originally blasted away. At the same time, Iron Man, who was kneeling on the ground, slowly raised his right hand, and the 6 Infinity Stones were shining brightly on his gloves. G. 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 The colorful and bright divine power was guided by the arm and continuously merged into Iron Man's body. The severe pain made Tony's face become ferocious. He endured the constant destruction of his body by the divine power. With the pain caused by his body, Tony looked at Thanos with a firm face and said, that is Iron Man. Bang! With the sound of snapping fingers, a bright white light illuminated the whole world instantly. In the sky, the flying Leviathan beast fell to the ground uncontrollably, turned into powder and dissipated, and countless alien soldiers turned into flying ashes. Looking at the scene in disbelief, Thanos's eyes were full of unwillingness. The next second, Thanos's body also turned into ashes and disappeared into the sky. At the same time, Tony gradually lost his sight in everyone's eyes. He lost his life and collapsed in the ruins. It ended with the scene of Tony falling. At the same time, a title also appeared in the minds of everyone in the world. Inventory of the first issue of the top 8 of the characters in the world, with a mortal body standing shoulder to shoulder with the gods, Iron Man. This is the end of the 8th character review video. It is different from the previous 2. This time the ending is full of tragedy. People who stand on Iron Man's side have a look of loneliness. Video in the middle of the process, people felt the charm of superheroes, fighting with various superpowers and technologies, and they felt excited. Because at that time, not many people knew that Iron Man would sacrifice, and everyone felt that it will be a battle in which justice defeats evil. The Avengers transcend their limits time and time again. Each battle scene makes the brains of countless viewers tremble and their scalps numb, giving people an extremely shocking visual impact. And in the second half of the video the way the Avengers risked their lives and stood back made countless people feel that their blood was burning and their hormones were constantly secreted. However, in the end, it ended with Iron Man's sacrifice, which is really disappointing. I can't accept it. Unlike Jigo Yuan, Iron Man died to save the world. At this moment, in the eyes of most people, Iron Man is a god. Iron Man. Well done. Guojeng. Woohoo, Tony don't die. Garden. Iron Man, I will always remember you. Wang Luffy. That guy Thanos is so stupid. Pirate Blackbeard. Toshiro Hitsugaya, captain of the 10th Division of the Goti I-13, pays tribute to the hero. Toshiro. The will of Iron Man will be passed down forever. Uzumaki Naruto. Damn it, I'm not willing to give in. Fire Dragon Natsu. Only when you have no fear can you soar into the sky. Zhao Zilong. Die for a mere half of your life, panic. Universe Emperor Frisia. GG, that's all. Soul Emperor. For the sake of humanity and justice, Iron Man, you are doing a great job. Meng Tianzheng. Humph, after all, he is just immortal. With me, Onlin, there will be heaven. Countless barrages passed by, and the picture slowly receded from everyone's minds. In the Marvel world. Sure enough, is this the final outcome? Looking at the end of the video, Tony smiled faintly, and it was hard to tell whether he was happy or sad. Thor, Captain, Banner, and Black Widow looked at him quietly and did not comfort him. Therefore, there was no comfort at this time. It is of great use, and no matter who snaps his fingers in the end, no one present will hesitate. On the other side, Thanos in the parallel world looked at this scene, with murderous intent in his eyes. Pass the order and go to Earth immediately to eliminate the Avengers. Knight Proxima Centauri and Deathblade General on the side knelt down to accept the order. Ding. As a reward, The top 8 Iron Man in the first phase of the Heavenly Characters inventory will receive the right to use the Wish Ring 10 times. This right does not require consuming life and can be used at will. The sound of the system instantly rang in the ears of everyone in the world. Everyone was slightly stunned, and then everyone in the world became excited. Snap your fingers 10 times to make a wish? What is this concept? Isn't this completely invincible? In the Marvel world. Damn it, Tony, you don't have to die. Banner stood up suddenly and shouted excitedly. Others also stepped forward, lifted Tony's body up, and shouted "Long live Iron Man." Tony himself was in a state of confusion. On the other side, looking at Thanos cautiously, Proxima Centauri asked, "Sir, do you think we still need to go to Earth?" On the throne, the corners of Thanos's eyes began to beat violently, and the corners of his mouth twitched fiercely. Mud horse? What a fucking joke. Go to hell. Looking at the rapidly increasing heat value on the system panel, Zhang Cheng's face was filled with joy. Ding. Congratulations to the host for getting the latest version of Iron Man's suit. Listening to the system prompts, Zhang Cheng's face showed a hint of joy. Last time Aizen's reward was Kyoka Suijutsu, this time it was Iron Man armor. So what will it be next time? With anticipation, Zhang Chenghe opened the material panel and began to carefully select. The first 3 characters all had bad endings, so this time there should be a better ending. After all, he didn't want to be scolded. And Iron Man, some people commented on the video that he was slutty, so this time Zhang Cheng planned to be more concise. So, after a day and night of editing, a new character inventory video appeared in front of Zhang Cheng. The first issue of Zushin Character Inventory Top 7, the most popular in history strong Hokage. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Taking stock of the people in the world, starting with the fate of the country. Author, Red Lotus. Chapter 39. Naruto World, Konoha Ninja School. In the classroom of the graduation orientation, a group of girls gathered around Sasuke. Led by Sakura and Ino, they wanted to discuss with Sasuke the character inventory video that had appeared in everyone's minds these days. Sasuke-kun, I believe you will become a figure like Enikitsukuni, Aizen, and Iron Man in the future. You will definitely become a legend in the ninja world in the future. Sakura sat not far away, looking at the cold-faced Sasuke in front of her with a look of infatuation. That's right, Sasuke-kun will definitely become the Hokage of Konoha village in the future, Ino on the side also echoed. Just him? How can it be? I, Naruto Uzumaki, am the man who will become Hokage. Looking at Sasuke surrounded by a group of girls, Naruto jumped directly to the table in front of Sasuke and said with a cold snort. Naruto, what are you doing? Led by Sakura, a group of girls stared at Naruto with wide eyes. Don't touch Sasuke-kun, okay? It's okay if I don't say this, but when I say it, Naruto's face becomes anxious. What's so good about a guy like Sasuke? He's as cold as a facial paralysis all day long. Naruto stared at Sasuke. If eyes could kill, at this moment, Sasuke has died countless times. Sasuke-kun, let Naruto see how powerful you are. Besides, Sakura said with a look of not being too dissatisfied. Just when the atmosphere became subtle, a brand new inventory picture suddenly appeared in everyone's mind. The first issue of the inventory of people in the world top 7, the strongest Hokage in history. This time, there was no introduction to the character's life as before, but the screen and introduction to the world appeared directly. When everyone in the classroom saw this, they stopped what they were doing and started to watch intently the strongest Hokage in history. This title is obvious, it should be talking about the Hokage of Konoha village. Could it be that the strongest Hokage in history is Grandpa Sandaime? Looking at the title of the video, Naruto wondered. It must be right, among the Hokages, the Sandaime is the strongest. Sakura and others on the side also said. I really look forward to what Grandpa Sandaime looked like when he was young. Ino on the side also became obsessed. As for the title character of the video, they could only think of one person, that is the current Sandaime Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen. In the Hokage's office, the Sandaime Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen raised his eyebrows, touched his long beard, and raised the corners of his mouth slightly. The strongest Hokage in history, I didn't expect it. I have reached this age, but I didn't expect that I would be able to be featured in the People of the World inventory video, and even be ranked 7th. In other ninja villages, Kazekage, Reikage, Tsuchikage, and Mizukage looked at the scene with a hint of surprise in their eyes. Everyone is very familiar with the name Hokage. It is the Hokage of Konoha village in the Land of Fire. Title. However, what is unexpected is that the old guy Hiruzen Sarutobi is still on the list at such an old age. It is really scary. At this moment, all the powerful people and organizations in the ninja world are dead. Looking at the next scene. In the world of the world, other people began to watch the next scene intently. In everyone's eyes, the video began to introduce the world view of the Naruto world, the world's combat power system, and various ability. After a simple and clear introduction to the world view, the picture began to emerge. Roar. Just as the picture began, a deafening roar echoed through the sky. The nine-tailed demon fox that filled the entire picture was unsealed and descended into in the village. Konoha village. At the bottom of the screen, the subtitles were carefully accompanied by an introduction. All I saw was that the 9 tails of the 9-tailed demon fox were dancing unbridled. The earth was shattered and the mountains and rivers were shaken. Every time it swept, everything along the way was shaken by the terrifying force. Exploded into debris. On the other side, in a small room, a young man with blonde hair took out a robe from the closet and put it on smoothly. The Yondaime Hokage. The bottom of the white robe appeared, a pattern like a burning flame appeared in the center of the white area of the robe. I will be right back. A cold voice came from the mouth of the blonde man. This is the 4th Hokage. In the classroom, Sakura couldn't help but exclaimed. Could it be that the person taking inventory is not the 3rd generation, but the 4th generation? Naruto looked at the Yondaime's back, his eyes widened, and a familiar feeling suddenly arose, as if the man in front of him was inextricably related to him. The 4th Hokage. I haven't seen the Yondaime before, but I didn't expect to be able to see it this time. Other people in the classroom started shouting, with the girls shouting the loudest. In the Hokage's office, the 3rd generation Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen, stared at the scene in confusion, his pupils shrinking slightly. Is Minato the person taking stock this time? A trace of disappointment flashed in Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes, and then his face became tense. Oh no, this picture is not. In the other ninja villages, the Kazekage, Reikage, Tsuchikage, and Mizukage were also slightly stunned, a little surprised by the man who appeared on the screen. Although the 4th generation Hokage is also very powerful, no matter how strong he is, he can't compare to that old man Sarutobi Hiruzen, right? The screen continued to play, and the powerful 9-tailed demon fox continued to destroy the surrounding buildings, and the ninjas of Konoha village also began to fight back against the 9-tailed demon fox. But in front of the extremely powerful 9-tailed demonic fox, the ninjutsu of ordinary ninjas had no effect on the 9-tailed demonic fox. Instead, they all died under the opponent's attack. On the other side, the 4th Hokage Namikaze Shuito appeared on the ancient Hokage rock on the edge of the cliff in the distance. Carrying the name of Hokage and protecting my family in the village is my duty now. I can no longer let them do whatever they want. Looking at the Kyuubi that continued to destroy in the distance, Minato stood up slowly, his Hokage robe fluttering in the wind. Feeling Minato's breath, Kyuubi immediately turned his body towards Minato. The next moment, Kyuubi opened his mouth. In the bloody mouth, frightening chakras gathered together. In mid-air, a huge black-purple sphere continued to condense, and a terrifying sense of oppression instantly enveloped several miles around. Tailed beast Jade, don't even think about destroying this place. Minato looked solemnly at the 9 tails condensed with the tailed beast Jade, and then quickly formed seals with his hands. Phew! The huge tailed beast Jade exuding a terrifying aura spurted out instantly, crushing some houses and things along the way into powder. Blasted towards Minato with lightning speed. The huge-tailed beast Jade tore the atmosphere, cut through the void and arrived in front of Minato in an instant. At the same time, the moment before the tailed beast Jade was about to hit the cliff, Minato's seal movement came to an abrupt end. The next moment, a formation formed by 8 black strange spells stretched out from the void and slowly wrapped the entire tailed beast Jade, swallowing it into the black spell. The tail was after the beast Jade was completely absorbed. Minato stretched out his hands and revealed a shuriken covered with incantations. The next moment, boom! Deep in the endless mountains in the distance, a circular bright light burst out. Like a huge sun rising suddenly in the night. In an instant, the mountains and the earth for hundreds of miles around were turned into ashes, and endless hurricanes swept out with the explosion as the center. Boom! The whole land began to explode. Violent shaking, the atmosphere was constantly torn apart, the space began to distort under the bombardment of the tailed beast Jade, and huge roars resounded through the sky. Many people in the world looked at the scene with horror on their faces, even the expressions of many strong men in the world of high martial arts changed slightly. What is this stuff? In the Marvel world, everyone from SHIELD looked at the scene with blank faces. Even the Avengers' expressions changed when they looked at this scene. Even if they encountered such a terrifying blow, they would probably have to run away. This thing is called tailed beast Jade. If this trick falls on us, we're afraid there won't even be any dregs left. In the world of Demon Slayer, the ghosts led by Animbutsuji Musen looked at the scene in horror, and their whole bodies trembled involuntarily. Since watching the inventory video, they have been shocked countless times. In the world of martial arts, countless there was despair in the eyes of the masters. With such a powerful blow, a town would be wiped out in an instant, right? And after all their hard work, it was just rubble. Haha, that's all. In the world of Dragon Ball, Frieza looks disdainful. Kuwabai. It's so nostalgic. In the world of Naruto, Madara Uchiha looked at the body of the 9-tailed demon fox with a faint smile on his face. The scene turned, and chains emitting golden light wrapped around the 9-tailed demon fox. In the woods, Minato held the baby in his arms, kneeling in front of a pale red-haired woman. Her expression was full of heartache and intolerance. Just to contain you like this, I will die. In this way, the resurrection period of the Kuwabai can be postponed further. This is the only way to reach you with my remaining chakra. Forcing Minato to smile, the red-haired woman continued, "Thank you for everything you have done for me, always. Kusina, you made me the 4th Hokage, you made me your husband, and you made me the father of this child, but I..." Looking at Kusina's appearance, Minato had a look of pain on his face. "Minato, don't show this expression. I'm very happy to have you loving me, but I really want to see what Naruto looks like when he grows up." Kusina's mouth kept bleeding, but she still tried hard to maintain a satisfied smile. "I will seal your chakra into Naruto, and I hope you can help him when he tries to control the Kuwabai as a Jinchuriki." Men stood up, formed seals with his hands, and used the corpse ghost sealing technique. A huge translucent corpse was floating in the air, wearing a white robe, holding a string of rosary beads in its hand, and holding a short knife in its mouth. I don't want Naruto to bear such a heavy responsibility. I hope you can stay by Naruto's side and grow up with him. But for the balance of the tailed beasts, for the country, and for the safety of the village, Minato, along with my chakra, should be sealed in Naruto's body. The severe pain made Kushina's body tremble slightly. After placing Naruto on the altar of the Bagua seal, Kushina couldn't help coughing violently. Seeing this, Minato ran to Kushina's side. However, at this moment, Kuwabai, who had broken away from part of the chain, suddenly raised his hand, and suddenly attacked the infant Naruto with a claw. The hearts of everyone in the world were raised at this moment. The next moment. Poof! Huge white claws penetrated the bodies of Minato and Kushina. The bright red blood stained the white claws and dripped onto Naruto, who was less than 10 centimeters away. Naruto, you can't be picky about food, you have to eat well every day to grow strong, remember to take a hot bath every day, don't stay up late, make sure you get enough sleep, and make friends. It doesn't matter if you don't have many friends, there are a few trustworthy ones. Partners are enough, remember, mom and dad love you. Accompanied by sad music, Kushina slowly told. Bagua seal. Following Namikaze Minato's final technique, a burst of dazzling white light passed. The Kuwabai was sealed into Naruto's young and frail body. The next second, the character's life introduction subtitles appeared. Top 7, in the world of ninja, Naruto Uzumaki is the strongest Hokage in history. A man who was born full of misfortunes, even though he was ostracized, criticized, and ridiculed, he still faced everything with a smile. He was the most unexpected ninja, the hero of Konoha, the savior of the ninja world, the son of prophecy, and the 7th generation Hokage. Evaluation: even though he has gone through many vicissitudes and suffered many hardships, he still burns and warms others like the will of fire. He is well deserved as the strongest Hokage. At this moment, seeing this scene, many people in the world were moved and mourned. But at the same time, many people also know that perhaps it is because of the greatness of Naruto's parents that Uzumaki Naruto, this infant, can grow into a strong man who can be selected into the personality inventory video of all the worlds. In the world of Naruto, the ninja school and even the entire Konoha village were in deathly silence at this moment. These are my parents. Looking at the picture, Naruto collapsed to the ground, tears flowing out uncontrollably. Even though he now knows that he will become the strongest Hokage in history in the future, he is not happy at all now. Taking stock of the people in the world, starting with the fate of the country. Author, Red Lotus. Chapter 40. Graduation instructions in the classroom. At this moment, the atmosphere became solid, and a strange atmosphere surrounded the classroom. Everyone felt a sense of unreality at first, and then everyone looked at Naruto, who was slumped on the ground in disbelief. How can this be? After a brief silence, Sakura's face was full of disbelief. The 7th Hokage, Uzumaki Naruto, Ino also looked at the scene in disbelief. The Yondaime Hokage is actually Naruto's father. Shikamaru's eyes widened and he looked at the scene in disbelief. At this moment, the whole classroom was boiling, everyone started talking, and some even started to talk to Naruto and be courteous. Naruto, the 4th Hokage is actually your father. Naruto, when you become Hokage, don't forget me. Naruto, do you remember, we played together when we were kids. Naruto, let's go eat ramen together after school. In an instant, the whole classroom became extremely lively, and many people opened their mouths to Naruto. For the safety of everyone in the village, the 4th Hokage sealed the 9 tails in Naruto's body. Over the years, Dinkai spoke, his voice was not loud, but it reached everyone's ears clearly. Hear the words. Everyone in the classroom felt like a thunder was falling in their minds, and the scene fell into silence again. Yes, of all those present. Except for a very few people who have never laughed at Naruto, most people have even ostracized and laughed at Naruto in front of him. For example, Sakura once said in front of Sasuke that Naruto has no parents and no tutor. Most of the people present had said remarks like Sakura's, and some were even more vicious. However, now that they saw that Naruto would become Hokage, They actually forgot what they had done before and began to fawn over Naruto. In Konoha village, all the villagers and ninjas stared at the scene in shock, their eyes full of disbelief. The fox demon, who they called the god of plague and the star of disaster since childhood. He was actually the child who gave his life to save the fourth Hokage Namikaze Minato of Konoha village. Moreover, in order not to involve others, they would rather sacrifice their own children and let them become Jinchuriki, who carry the tailed beasts. In a certain store, the boss with a mask hanging at the door was stunned. He still vaguely remembered that Naruto Uzumaki looked at a mask with envy at the door of his shop a few years ago. However, because of his identity as a fox demon, he drove him out in public. And now, this fox demon is actually the child of the fourth Hokage. Boom! His legs weakened, and the boss collapsed to the ground, his eyes widened, his face full of horror, and he murmured to himself, to the fourth generation Hokage who saved Konoha, the child of Namikaze Minato, too rough. This scene happened anywhere in Konoha village. The villagers and ninjas who hated, cursed, insulted Naruto all had heavy expressions on their faces. At this moment, they hate their original behavior very much. Why did they choose to do those things to Naruto in the first place? You know, Naruto is the son of a hero. In the Hokage's office, Sarutobi Hiruzen pulled the Hokage hat on his head, his face became heavy. Minato, I hope you don't blame me. I'm doing this all for Naruto's good. The image began to change, and Naruto's baby's body grew little by little. When he was about 5 or 6 years old, the picture slowed down. Hey, don't play with him. God knows what he will do to you. On the street, a middle-aged man grabbed his daughter and looked at Naruto squatting on the ground playing with mud with disgust in his eyes. The villagers around him all had indifferent expressions on their faces, and they were not interested in the man's behavior. He had long been used to it, and some people even directly expressed disgust. Upon seeing this, the 5 or 6-year-old Naruto put his hands in his pockets and left silently without saying a word. Walking on the street, everyone's eyes were on the same thing, that is, indifference and disgust. At night, he slowly fell on the boat. 5 or 6-year-old Naruto slowly closed his eyes, his body began to tremble involuntarily, and 2 lines of hot tears could not help but flow from his eyes. His eyes were filled with tears. Situations like this happened to Naruto every day. One day, 5 or 6-year-old Naruto gathered up the courage and walked towards his friends in the village, his face full of flattery. Smile. If you want to play, can you take me to play too? Why should I play with you? You will never be allowed to participate in tonight's courage test. Listen up, you absolutely can't follow me. Sitting on the swing, a child with eyes immediately objected. The picture kept changing. Didn't I tell you not to play with that child? Come on, hurry up. To read exciting novels, go to Phila Novel Network. The parents held their children and left with their children with disgust in their eyes. Naruto, who stayed where he was, could only show a bewildered expression at the entrance of the store. Wow! Naruto looked at the mask on the wall with longing. You bastard! Go aside. The store owner looked at Naruto, his face full of anger, and then he pushed Naruto's body to the street. What are you doing suddenly? Naruto, who fell on the ground, showed a painful expression and loudly questioned the store owner. Around a dozen villagers looked at Naruto, who fell on the ground quietly, but no one stepped forward to stop the store owner. What are you doing here, you plague god? Looking at Naruto on the ground, the store owner did not hide his disgust at all, and his tone was very vicious. Then, the store owner took off the mask on the wall, threw it at Naruto with all his strength, and said, I will give you this kind of thing. You, get out of here. Smashing the mask on Naruto's head, regardless of the pained expression on his face, the store owner's words fell into the ears of everyone present without any mercy. Why? Why are you looking at me like that? The angry Naruto roared and asked the surrounding villagers, his face full of loneliness. On a certain night, the snow was falling heavily. Naruto, who was walking on the street, looked at the panicked people on the street with tears on their faces. Hinata said, "Don't just cry. Where is your house?" "Zero, please give me flowers." Zero shook his head. Hinata said that he didn't know. "I really can't do anything to you, let's go." Holding Hinata's little hand, Naruto sent Hinata to her home. Before leaving, Naruto smiled warmly at Hinata and said, "Like me, there is no one around me, but I never cry." The screen changed again, and it was in front of a big tree. Naruto said to Iruka with determination and excitement, "I want to become a more powerful Hokage than the fourth Hokage, and then let everyone recognize my strength." And like this experience lasted for more than 10 years, and there were only a few people who did not exclude Naruto. Due to this experience, Naruto was also extremely naughty when he was a child, often wreaking havoc everywhere, trying to arouse the hatred of others. Pay attention. Looking at this scene, most people in the world widened their eyes, their whole bodies began to tremble, their fists were clenched, and their faces were full of anger. Damn it, how could they do this? In the world of martial arts, Guo Jing looked angry. "Brother Jing, they just don't know the truth of the matter." Besides, Huang Rong consoled her. "Don't know the truth? Even if you don't know the truth, can you do this?" Hearing this, Guo Xiang asked. "Damn it, Naruto has already worked so hard." In the world of Demon Slayer, Tanjiro and the others looked indignant. Is this what happens to heroes? Ridiculous. In the world of pirates, the corners of Doflamingo's mouth raised slightly. How could this be possible? He was the son of a hero. In the world of Conan, Xylan looked unbearable. That's right, even though the Yondaime Hokage sacrificed his life for them, they actually treated the Yondaime's children like this. Besides, Yuanzi couldn't help but wipe the tears from the corners of his eyes. The son of a hero should not be treated like this. In the fantasy world, Meng Tianzhen's face showed rare anger. At the same time, in the world of Naruto, people in other ninja villages shook their heads when they looked at this scene. They couldn't understand why the dignified fourth-generation Hokage, their children, would actually receive such a treatment. So what if Uzumaki Naruto is the nine-tailed Jinchuriki? Can he be treated like this just because he is a Jinchuriki? That old guy, Sarutobi Hiruzen, is getting more and more confused as he lives. The Raikage frowned. Dogs would shake their heads when they saw this. In Konoha village, everyone looked at this scene, their faces full of guilt. In the classroom, those who had just flattered Naruto were full of emotions at the moment. Her face turned red and she didn't dare to say anything. At this time, Hinata walked up to Naruto, knelt down, and said with a bright smile on her face, "Naruto-kun, didn't you say you wouldn't cry? The Yondaime is a real hero, and you are a hero too. Don't be sad, I will always be by your side." The words fell. Everyone's eyes widened and they looked at Hinata in disbelief. Even Hinata's face turned red with embarrassment after finishing speaking, and